All right, good evening. It is July 21st, 2026. It is 7 p.m. and it's time for the Hanford City Council meeting. Madam Clerk, roll call, please.
Councilmember Martinez.
Here.
Councilmember Reagan.
Here.
Councilmember Payton.
Here.
Vice Mayor House.
Here.
And Mayor Kairos.
Here. And let the record reflect that all council members are present. We're going to start our night off with our invocation. We have Pastor Lori Wells, I believe, that's with us tonight. From Wellsprings Church. So if you'd all rise, remove your caps, and then after our invocation, Councilwoman Regan is going to lead us in our flag salute. Welcome.
Thank you. Welcome to you all. Thank you for being here. Heavenly Father, we come to you tonight in deep gratitude for those who care. And we see them all over this room. We may not all share the same opinions, but we all share the same hope that this community will continue to thrive and will continue to bless our nation with the goodness of the gifts that you have given to us. And we thank you equally for those who serve us in the role of council members, those who are elected to lead. We ask that you would bless them with wisdom and with the ability to stand back and to look towards the future. We ask that that would be a future that would be good for our children and good for those who stand in poverty, good for those who struggle in this world, and good for those who allow us to continue with a strong economy. We thank you. And we ask that this would be a place of unity and harmony tonight. Amen.
Amen.
Please salute.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
You all may be seated. So, a couple housekeeping things for the people that are at the entry. Is the monitor in the hall up and running? Perfect. I get a thumbs up. That's perfect. First and foremost, welcome everyone. This is, isn't unusual, but it's nice to see everyone here as a council. I know the five of us routinely talk about wanting to hear from the community and the public. So as we get into, before we get into public comment tonight, I'll make just a real quick statement so everyone kind of knows where things are at. And then we're going to open that up, and the floor is going to be yours. So we're excited in anticipation to hear your voice. But before we do that tonight, we have some recognition. Oh, wait, let's go back. Closed session action report. I'm going to look at our city attorney, city manager. Anything to report?
Thank you, Mayor. So with respect to items A, C, and one of the anticipated litigation items, there were no actions taken.
And Mr. Mayor, item B and one of the items on D, no actions taken to report.
Thank you both. So next on the agenda is our recognition. This is a presentation of a proclamation recognizing GRID, G-R-I-D, Alternatives Central Valley for its commitment to providing clean and affordable solar energy to Hanford residents. So at this time, I'm going to defer to my colleague, Councilman Payton, to read the proclamation.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The Recognizing GRID, Alternatives Central Valley. Whereas since 2009, GRID Alternatives Central Valley has been committed to expanding access to clean, affordable solar energy for residents of Hanford and surrounding communities, helping families reduce energy costs while promoting environmental sustainability. And whereas through its dedicated efforts, GRID Alternatives Central Valley has served 147 Hanford households, providing more than $4 million in lifetime energy savings while creating an environmental impact equivalent to removing approximately 1,916 vehicles from the road. And whereas GRID Alternatives is the nation's largest nonprofit solar installer, having provided clean, renewable energy solutions to more than 37,000 households across the United States since its inception. And whereas the organization is committed to developing the clean energy workforce by training more than 30,000 individuals through its nationally recognized solar workforce development program, creating career opportunities while supporting the growth of the renewable energy industry. And whereas the Grid Alternatives Central Valley Regional Office has served more than 4,000 families, generating more than $100 million in lifetime energy savings throughout the Central Valley, while helping make renewable energy accessible to underserved communities. And whereas the organization's no-cost solar installation program, funded through the DAC SH Disadvantaged Communities Single-Family Solar Homes program, has expanded opportunities for income-qualified homeowners to benefit from renewable energy while reducing household utility costs. And whereas the City of Hanford recognizes the meaningful contribution of Grid Alternatives Central Valley in improving the quality of life for Hanford residents through energy affordability, workforce development, and continued investment in the community. Now therefore, I, the City of Hanford, on behalf of the Hanford City Council, do by proclaim our sincere appreciation and recognition of Grid Alternatives Central Valley for its outstanding commitment to serving the residents of Hanford and the Central Valley, and extend our gratitude for its continued dedication to expanding access to clean, affordable solar energy, strengthening our community, and improving the lives of local families. Presented this 21st day of July 2026, and it's signed by our Mayor, Mark Kyrus. And is there a representative from Grid Alternatives here to receive this certificate? We're going to take a picture.
We'll get a picture, Brian. One more. We get a lot of them. And the podium is yours. Would you like to make some comments?
Thank you very much for this honor. My name is Tom Escueda. I am the Outreach Marketing Manager for Grid Alternatives. Our office has been open in Fresno since 2009, and I believe the first house we did here in Hanford was in 2011. And I will correct you, since the time that we sent in the information for the proclamation, we have added 3 houses that we've done. Now it's 150 instead of 147.
Right.
But we want to continue serving all those that qualify for our program. It is no cost, which means free. But unfortunately, when you say free, sometimes people think, what's the catch? Well, the catch is there are some qualifiers in regards to the households we serve, owner-occupied, income level, and so forth. And we love the opportunity to talk to more people and present our program and to help the community. As you heard, clean energy is very important. It's removing cars, it's planting trees, and it's saving people money. So if we can help you save 50, 60, 70% of your household bill at no cost by providing rooftop solar, please look up Grid Alternatives. I have some flyers I'll leave with somebody here that you can pass out.
Yes.
And you can find us by Googling us on your phone. Thank you so very much.
Thank you.
Congratulations. I'd like to hand them to our city clerk. She'll take those from you. Okay, next on our agenda is public comment. Before I start tonight and I read the disclaimer, I just want to say I know just from the visuals that are in the audience tonight, there's interest tonight regarding data centers and the concerns and stuff expressed there. One thing I just wanted to share with the community is that I was unaware of a data center proposal being, or being proposed at the Kings Fairground until I saw the notice on social media. So I just say that because this is proposed project is on the property of the state of California, which is the fairgrounds. The proposal for that project, we as a city have not been consulted or have opined on this potential or proposed data center. Currently, the city of Hanford, we as a council have had no discussions or with staff regarding any data center that will be built in the city itself, in the city of Hanford. So I just say that to share that information with the people, but we are going to open up public comment. We do want to hear your voices. So this will be the time for the citizens to comment on subject matters within the jurisdiction of the Hanford City Council. This is also the public's opportunity to request an item on the consent calendar to be pulled for discussion purposes or to comment on any item on the agenda. State law does not allow the council to discuss or take action on items not on the agenda, except that members of the council or staff may briefly respond to statements made or questions posed by persons exercising their public testimonial rights. A maximum of 3 minutes is allowed for each speaker. I will ask that if you'd like to speak, when the first person comes to the podium, if the next person could get in behind them, and we can just keep going from there, that would be great. And we just ask that you begin your comments by stating your name and your city of residence. So having said that, at this time, public comment is open.
First, Dan Leon. In 2019, my son's grandfather, an 80-year-old man with dementia, and his uncle, 51-year-old, were arrested by Avenel Police Department with fabricated charges based on allegations made by somebody. 9 months later, the charges were dropped. In my discoveries and findings, according to city employees and community members, the Avenel Police Department, high-ranking and lower-ranking law enforcement officials in uniform and on duty were engaged in immoral acts with female staff in the police department. Unfortunately, one of the female staff had the courage to file a formal complaint for the internal investigation. The chief of police was forced to retire, and other officers involved in their involvement in the parties were fired or whatever became of them. I bring it back, counsel, to the day my son was arrested. Based on allegations made by the known high school drug trafficker and abuser, he was arrested by a former Avenel law enforcement official. According to his last employer's evaluation, this officer lacked field experience and had displayed poor judgment required for a proper supervisor role. The night after my son's arrest, approximately at 05:40 hours in the morning, the Hanford Police Department's witness was outside in front of my house yelling obscenities and clearly displaying features of a person under the influence of a controlled substance. Furthermore, he claimed again, at that time when my son was in jail, he claimed that my son had burglarized his home again. For the record, my son was in jail since the day of his arrest, and he's disabled. I have one question to the city of Hanford. We have so many well-qualified, seasoned Hispanic police officers. Why did you outright overlook to promote a Hispanic police officer? Instead, you racially promoted an inexperienced young white police officer with poor judgment. This is the typical pattern of racism faced by former Hispanic council members in this community. As I warned so many times, many other council members in other cities, this information is being forwarded to the officials in the Sacramento Regional Office. And I'm not standing here alone, gentlemen.
Thank you, Mr. DeLeon.
Kathleen Jorgensen, residents of Hanford. I'll give you something positive before I tell you what I'm concerned about. Thank you for the drones, but they're not enough, and you don't do them long enough. Police department for a long time didn't do anything. And we are spending $1,500 every 4th of July to take our dog out of town. And that's stupid. So, thank you, though, for helping. Now, data center. I understand Fairgrounds is not city property. I understand NAS Lemoore is not city property. But what I'm asking you to do is city councils from Hanford, Avenel, Lamore and Corcoran, along with the Board of Supervisors, all need to get together and form some type of a coalition that is fighting against data centers. The data center out on the base is going to be devastatingly horrible. And we've got a member of our group, Kings County Democrats, who has done a wonderful job researching it, and you need to probably talk with him. Also, they're saying that the fairgrounds isn't a data center. Yes, it is. And we don't have answers on what happens to the fluids that are within the supposed cycle that is not going to be exposed. Where does it go? Is it going to go into our water table? Is it going to pollute our water? Is it going to pollute our air? I have lived in this city for a long time. And I can remember, and I was very proud of the city when they came together when GWF tried to do a coal-burning plant, and we stopped it. We need to stop these data centers. We need to stop them now because we already have too many things like prisons. We have too much pollution. We have lack of water. Please help us.
Thank you, Mr. Jurgensen.
My name is Alexandra. I'm a resident here in Hanford, California for the past 2.5 years. Before I go forward, I attended yesterday's meeting, and I would like to apologize, not to you, because you guys were not the volunteer members in there, but many of the residents here were present, and that's not the kind of attitude, that's not the representation that I want, the behavior that I want to represent my community, and I wanted to apologize for that because I went off rail yesterday. My passion is real. I was not born and raised here in Hanford, but I am treating as if as if my mother gave birth to me into this, excuse my language, may I could say fucking soil. That's what it is. I'm very passionate. Data centers not only is going to affect mentally our children, our animals, but it's going to affect our farms. We are already being told when to water our grasses. What made you think that you going to take our resources and give it to a data center? I am so tired of hearing excuses after excuses. And this is not about politics, what side you're in. This is about humanity, about our resources that they are taking away from us. Okay? We already have water problems, outages. And our water is being raised. Our electrical is being raised. Okay? Is it not? Everything. And I come from the Bay Area. Okay? I came from the Bay Area. I was getting paid $30 an hour. I was the third on the list of the. I'm sorry, I'm a little bit nervous. I've never done this before.
Take your time.
My background is a hospital administrator, which I know the critical control points. I know what's the corrective actions, and you guys cannot be transparent with us because they cannot be transparent with you. So therefore, it will be unfair for me to ask you for you to be transparent to me. All I want to say is no to AI, no to flock cameras. And thank you.
Thank you, Alexandra.
Good afternoon. My name is Cesar Caratachea. I'm a resident here of Hanford, but most importantly, I like to say that I'm a young father to a young daughter that's 6 years old. So I came here today because I think it's important to talk on these issues, mainly because, I think about myself, but more importantly, I think about the younger generation. So I think about my daughter in that aspect. When I heard about the data center, I was really angry, but I thought immediately of my daughter. So I wanted to come here and express my concerns regarding that. My daughter, she's 6 years old, like I said. My concern is that this data center is going to impact our air quality already. As it is, it's pretty bad. So my concern is that I don't want my little girl to be, breathing in those toxic airs and that toxic air that's coming from that data center. And I know right now it hasn't come to fruition or it hasn't been approved or whatnot, but I do think this is the first step, speaking out and saying that my concerns are high. And I never come to these things, but today I said, I think it's important to speak out. And more importantly, when a young man needs to speak out for his daughter, she can't speak for herself. She has autism, but I think it's important for me to use my voice and my privilege to come over here and say I'm against the AI data centers, and I think you should really look into it and just consider the younger generations, right? Because we're also the future. So I think it's important to take note of that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Gotta go a little lower on this. Hello, my name is Sienna Rodriguez. I'm 24 years old, and I was born and raised here in Hanford, California. I understand that you guys are saying that you have no say in this data center, but I'm going to take this moment to educate you guys and others in this room on the damage that these do. Some backstory on me. I come from a family who used to own a farm here in Hanford, California, off of Flint Avenue, past the 43. My family was one of the few farming families that tried to fight against the high-speed rail, a project that was never completed and wasted millions of our tax dollars. We were affected so much by the high-speed rail that unfortunately, like many others, had to end up selling our farm when the railroad's production began. My grandfather stood in this exact building a little more than 10 years ago, fighting against something that did nothing beneficial to our community, and here I am advocating for my community again and standing up to these data centers that do not belong here in Kings County. Now, let me tell you some facts about the damage data centers will do. A 10 megawatt data center consumes between 75,000 to 340 gallons of water per day. This equals roughly to 27 million to 125 million gallons of water yearly. Powering site demands additional water as they often exceed direct cooling volumes. According to a new report from the IRP, the International Resource Panel, half of the world's population will suffer from severe water stress by 2030. Are you going to allow our community to be a part of that 50%? Not only do these data centers need and use excessive amounts of clean water, but they also cause permanent damage to our bodies. A 10 megawatt data center produces constant noise levels ranging from 60 to 90 decibels. Cooling fans create a constant hum, and generator sounds spike to 105 decibels. 85 decibels is safe for the human ears for only 8 hours. 105 decibels is only safe for 3 to 4 minutes. Sound from a 10 megawatt data center can travel anywhere from a few hundred feet to over a mile. Sound, in other communities nationwide that have surrounding data centers already are reporting multiple cases of tinnitus. If you don't know what tinnitus is, it is a medical term for when one will constantly hear ringing, buzzing, clicking, and hissing sounds when there is no noise present. This sound will cause damage to humans and our wildlife. California state law, disturbing the peace, makes it illegal to maliciously and willfully create loud and unreasonable noise. Matter of fact, in Hanford, you can be cited if your noise is plainly audible from 50 feet away after 10 p.m. South of the fairgrounds, almost 2,000 of Hanford's residents will be affected in the Home Gardens area. I cannot find an exact number of people who live in the north, west, and east side of the fairgrounds, but all surrounding neighborhoods will also be affected, including myself, which I live right on the other side of the soccer complex, where kids play soccer year-round. If sound from a 10 megawatt data center can travel up to a few hundred feet to a mile, 24 hours of the day, why are we even considering this to be built in our community? It completely violates our rights.
Thank you, Ms. Rodriguez. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, Mayor and members of the council. My name is Yvette Chaides Villarreal, and I'm a resident of Hanford. I've lived here since I was 2 years old. In fact, Mr. Payton, you were my math teacher. Mr. Kairis, I went to school with Matt. And Nancy, I actually went to a gym with you. So I'm here tonight because, like a lot of my neighbors here, I'm deeply concerned about the growing push to bring large-scale data centers to our region. We're constantly told that these projects represent progress, innovation, and economic development. But before we can even accept that narrative, we need to ask a simple question. Progress for who? Kings County has spent decades carrying burdens that other communities don't want. We have some of the worst air quality in California. We're facing an ongoing water crisis. Our residents experience higher rates of asthma and other chronic health conditions. Our farmers are already competing for limited water resources, and our electric grid is under increasing strain. The Central Valley has long been treated as a place where industries come because people here are expected to absorb the impacts. Our communities have sacrificed enough. Another concern that deserves more attention is the impact these facilities may have on the people and agriculture that surround them. Residents living near some data centers have reported persistent noise from cooling equipment, including low-frequency humming, that can travel long distances. Some farmers have also raised concerns about changes they've observed in nearby livestock. While long-term research is still developing, we simply do not know what decades of continuous industrial noise may mean for human health, quality of life, or animal well-being. When the science is still emerging, caution should guide our decisions. We're told that these projects create jobs, but once they're built, data centers actually employ relatively few permanent workers compared to the amount of land, water, and energy they consume. That is not the kind of economic development our community should settle for. Economic development should leave our community healthier than before, not ask us to sacrifice our air, water, farmland, or our quality of life. So tonight, I'm asking this council to be proactive instead of reactive. I urge you to begin exploring a local ordinance or resolution that would prohibit the development of data centers and similar high-resource industrial facilities within the city of Hanford. If our general plan and zoning policies don't currently provide those protections, I ask that you begin that conversation now before an application is sitting in front of you. We have an opportunity to decide what kind of community we want before outside interests make that decision for us. Let's choose clean air, responsible water stewardship, sustainable economic development, and the health of the people who call Hanford home. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Burial. Just to answer your question. So the process is, and after tonight, when we get to our future agenda items, I'm going to be making a request for a consensus from council to have a study session regarding this topic that you've mentioned, and to honor your request. So we will be adding that to our, if council's consensus is to add it to our a future agenda, which hopefully will be rather sooner than later. So I just wanted to let you know that we are, I'm going to make that request tonight.
Thank you.
Yep.
That was a recording of a data center. That was 4 seconds. It's a high-pitched metallic sound.
Can I get your name? I'm sorry.
Sorry, my name is Amy Wilkinson.
Thank you, Ms. Wilkinson.
I was raised in Hanford. I work in Hanford. I live in Lemoore. So so many people here have already talked about the health and economic impacts of the data center. So I'm gonna skip that because I feel like you're hearing it a lot. And data centers are bad, so let's not do one. So what I wanted to do is I wanted to say that they are an existential threat to our community and to the valley in general. And especially since they want to put them near home gardens. Home gardens may be an unincorporated area, but their children go to our schools and they work in our communities, and they deserve to breathe clean air and drink clean water like the rest of us. One of the things that me and the Jimmy Carter Club are trying to organize is a nonpartisan town hall on Friday, August 28th. And we want to extend an invitation to you, and we're going to be extending that invitation to all the other city councils and the Board of Supervisors to be in attendance in order to be available to answer questions from your constituents. So if you could, save the date, Friday, August 28th, we will be putting together a town hall for that. And finally, the last thing I'd like to do is say that I'd like to ask that you pass a resolution banning data centers completely within this jurisdiction, encourage other municipalities to do the same, and working with all the Kings County city attorneys to file a class action lawsuit to stop the data centers from being built on the base. As was stated earlier, Kings County has been the dumping ground for various cities throughout the state. We've got more. We finally have the same amount of colleges as prisons, but it would be nice if we had more nicer things than that. We have the dump. We have all these other things that people have imposed on us, and this feels like one more thing. They're not building these in Silicon Valley. They want to build them here. So it'd be nice to see us say no for once. Finally, the last thing is now is the time for action, because the data centers, even small ones, will be an environmental disaster for our community that our children and our grandchildren cannot afford. And action now will be your legacy. Inaction will also be your legacy. Please think about what you'd like to leave behind. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Wilkinson. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you. August
28th.
28th, Town Hall Friday.
Thank you.
Do you have a location or a time?
We're working on that.
Okay. If you would please, if
I didn't get an official.
if you please grab my business card on your way out, there should be one on the back table, a business card. Send me an email with the information and any flyer or anything you have so I can distribute with council.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, City Council members. I'm Vanessa Alvarez, a Kings County resident working in District D. I come before you to express my concern regarding the proposed data center for Kings County. To my understanding, in the Kings County Fairgrounds, a 10 megawatt, 2 to 5 acre data center was proposed to be built by developer Global Stack. The concern rises with the electricity usage of it, among other concerns, of course. To put it in perspective, a data center of 10 megawatts uses the electricity amount of roughly 6,000 to 10,000 houses, or homes for us, right? Here in Hanford, there are approximately 20,689 housing units, 19,763 of which are occupied currently. I hope you all consider this data and all the other data the community has given you to oppose this being built in our backyard. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Alvarez. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Margaret Tebby. I've only lived in Hanford for about a year, but I'm also a PhD candidate in anthropology at UC Irvine, and I study environmental governance. So I don't consider myself an expert in data centers specifically, but I do consider myself an expert in how these things happen in places like Hanford. I just want to note a couple of things. I was also at the Environmental Justice Plan study session a couple of months ago. So I would like to note that I think a lot of this is against that environmental justice plan, or at least against the spirit of it. A couple of things noting, this is just public data from CalEnviroscreen. The census tract that this data center is proposed to be in is in the 91st percentile of census tracts in California. That means it has worse environmental conditions than 91% of other census tracts. The bordering on the other side of 10th Avenue, which is a census tract that I live in, is 99th. So 99% of other census tracts in California have better conditions. When we look at air, both are in the 99th percentile for particulate matter 2.5 micrometers. And both are also in the 82nd percentile for ozone. These are things that would be worsened. I don't have the numbers written down for groundwater threats, but that would also be a threat presented by the data center. And so we are in not only, the top quintile, but, the top 5% of worst, most polluted census tracts in California. I would also like to point out that I live on 2nd Street, not far, about half a mile from where the data center would be. I'm not speaking for the Boys and Girls Club, but I do work for the Boys and Girls Club, which is a quarter of a mile from where the data center would be, also basically on 2nd Street. And I walk my dog every morning in the cemetery that's right next to the where the data center would be, because that's the only green space that's available to me in my neighborhood. I wouldn't want to live near a data center. I wouldn't want to walk my dog next to one. This is already an area of the city that I think most of us in the room know that are familiar with Hanford, that is the poorest and most burdened part of Hanford already. So adding on to this, and I definitely sympathize with you haven't been consulted, but I think other people have raised good ideas for how to address that. What I've seen in other places, I've been really involved in environmental justice zoning in Santa Ana and Southern California. There's a lot of passing the buck that happens often. Well, the zoning code can't do it. Oh, that's one other thing. That is not a zoned industrial. They shouldn't be able to put a data center there. It's a public facilities zone area. So if you need to think creatively. This is the age we're all living in. We all need to think creatively and kind of outside the box about how do we protect our environment.
Thank you, Ms. Tubby. I'm going to put a pause here for 1 second and let the city attorney jump in.
Thank you, Mayor. So with respect to the zoning issue, it's very significant in that you have to look at who owns this particular property. The property is owned by a state agency, and the general rule is state agencies are not subject to local zoning laws. So we could be facing a matter here in which that project doesn't require any city approval whatsoever. And it could be an instance where the city council has no authority to prohibit this particular project. So again, from where I started, our zoning ordinance may have no effect whatsoever on this project because it's state-owned property. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mazzotti. Sorry, you may go. Proceed. Thank you.
All right, thanks. Silva, I'm a resident of Hanford, 8th generation here. I'm also the president of the Hanford Elementary Teachers Association. And one of the things I tell the teachers is that I'm always going to speak out against things that I think are going to harm us teachers, and harm us as our students and families. And so you think about, earlier they said that you're going to be able to hear the sound within a mile. So what's within a mile? Lincoln School, right? We already have an issue as teachers when they mow the grass during the day, right? We have an issue with that. We already have an issue when they're doing building stuff and infrastructure. We have an issue with that. I can't imagine having to teach students with noise, right? What's also within a mile? Martin Luther King Jr., Lee Richmond Elementary, JFK, right? And think about, I just signed up to coach soccer. What's near the proposed data center? The youth soccer complex, which is going to affect a lot of families that use that facility. So I just hope that you as a city council, that you would really think about what can you do, right? What can we do? I know that you say that it's owned by the state, but think about think outside the box. That's why we put you into office, right? Think outside the box. Think about what you can do, right? And do something for the people in our community, because the South Side is often overlooked. The South Side is where the people actually get things done to them and they don't have a voice in it, right? I grew up on the South Side, grew up in the projects, and I have a heart for them, and I think that it's important that we speak up for them, right? And I know that I hope, because we elected you, that you're going to make the right decisions for our community. But you just said a prayer about, making sure that you take care of the least of these. We are the least of these. Okay, so do your job.
Thank you, Silva.
Okay, so I have my notes from prior, so I'm just going to read verbatim what I wrote. So my name is Shasid Gomez. I am a resident of Hanford. I would like to address my questions and concerns. Based on the Freedom Information Act, you are obligated to uphold transparency and address any questions residents may have. In this instance, we are discussing the proposed development of an AI data center. Some questions you must ask yourselves are, what is the size, energy use, and water use of the facility? What energy infrastructure is needed? Where will the wastewater be treated? How much pollution will the site generate? What commitments will the company make to reduce climate and ratepayer cost impacts? What data is being collected and who has access to this data? Have you signed any NDAs with any companies, landowners, or representatives in regards to this project? Along with these questions, I would also like to discuss the negative effects of these data centers. In the U.S., data centers will add an additional 44 million metric tons of CO2 to the atmosphere annually and run up to 1,125 million cubic meters of water per year. How is that going to be beneficial to an agricultural community like Hanford, where clean water is paramount for maintaining agricultural practices? The implementation of these data centers would raise utility bills from power plants and transmission. Data centers are non-labor intensive enterprises which create very few jobs and contribute little money to the host cities. Data centers are also known to create significant noise pollution caused by generators, ventilation, and heating systems. This generates noise levels that can exceed 90 decibels, which is concerning because noise levels greater than 85 decibels are considered harmful. How is this beneficial for residents and wildlife? With that being said, there is no need for a data center in our city, but there is a need for transparency, which has been lacking. There was also a lack of transparency when 15 flock cameras were placed in our city, the first ones being placed back in October 22 of 2025. Yesterday, we barely received any information on these surveillance cameras and were never given the choice of having a discussion on their implementation. I implore you, don't make the same mistake again and provide accurate information with no room for ambiguity. The lack of consideration and honesty is disappointing and imperative that you listen to all of our concerns today. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is Red Fidiasi. I live in District B and I work in District D. I'm here as a representative of Valley Voices, a local nonprofit, to speak about the data centers that are proposed to be built at the Kings Fairground and NAS Naval Air Station Lemoore. My voice echoes community concerns on how these data centers could impact our local environment. My first concern is the water use. Community members have shared with our organization in the past about their struggles with contaminated, dirty water and its effects on their health already. The next is noise pollution. According to a study done by the state of Colorado, data centers cause noise pollution known to scare away wildlife, including bees that we rely on as a major contributor to our local farming ecosystem. Researchers noted that continuous low-frequency hum may affect local well-being and adds to the data center's environmental footprint. Sorry, I'm nervous. Extended exposure to low-frequency noises characterized by sound waves below 200 hertz can negatively affect human health and well-being, including higher order cognitive functions such as logical reasoning, mathematical calculations, and data processing. In studies done by the National Bureau of Economic Research, data shows that data centers consume roughly 5 to 6% of energy generated in the U.S., generating approximately $25 billion in gross external damages. The LNAS plan has changed significantly since its inception as a solar farm, where the environmental study was dismissed as unnecessary. The new proposal has 285 plus generators that could run 24/7, which requires an environmental study specific to the project as it now stands. The Kings Fair project has not had an environmental study done that has been published. Concerned community members are asking for transparency about projects that could increase energy cost, use scarce commodities like water, and create significant environmental impacts. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening. I'm Sandra Van Scotter, and I live in Ridgecrest. I live next to another data center that's being proposed to be developed. And in transparency, I'm also your candidate for Congress for California's 20th Congressional District. I'm here tonight to tell you something the law calls cumulative impact. And that's something that the developers hope you don't find out about. In 1 year, there have been multiple industrial projects that have been proposed in and near California's 20th Congressional District. Many AI data centers at Edwards Air Force Base, much further south than here, at NAS Lemoore, and at Inyakern, next to China Lake Naval Base, which is on private property. There's an open pit gold mine that's on the other side of the mountains from here, near Mammoth Lake, also going to be using a massive amount of water if it's approved, and that's on BLM land. Kern County, at least, is reporting that there's many more proposals for data centers on their desk. This clustering is not a coincidence. On July 23, 2025, President Trump signed Executive Order 14318, fast-tracking federal permitting for AI data centers of 100 megawatts or larger. Congress then advanced 5 bills narrowing environmental review and 3 resolutions opening up 29 million acres of federal land for development. And the deluge of proposals came in after that. What helped this come was the bill that was vetoed by Governor Newsom requiring that these projects be accurate about how much water they planned to use and to verify that they didn't go over that limit. He vetoed that bill because he says, hey, California can handle it. So Under CEQA, projects like this cannot just be evaluated one at a time. The lead agency must consider the cumulative impact, the combined effect on shared water, air, transmission, and community capacity. The Inyukern project alone will draw up to 50 acre-feet of groundwater already in critical overdraft, and I understand we're near critical overdraft here as well. Edwards, Lemoore, and Mount Mono County Mine draw from adjacent basins under the same regional pressure. So the question the law requires you to answer is this, but the developers hope you don't notice. What happens to our water, our air, our grid, and our communities when all of these projects operate simultaneously at full capacity for even a short amount of time? So one of the things I would like to say is that Ridgecrest, the neighboring town to Inyukern, is a few steps ahead. And one of the things that they've done is they have agreed to ask for intervenor status as this is being investigated.
Thank you, Ms. Scott. We've got a line behind you. I need you to limit it. Thank you.
I do know that, but intervenor status is what I wanted to get out. Thank you.
Good luck on your campaign. The air is on. It's up. It's up. I believe it's up as high as it can go. Or down. Well, low. It's down. Yeah. Not up. It's not the heat's not on. I'm sorry, ma'am. Go ahead.
I'm Amy Breyer. I live in Hanford. These guys have so much data. I don't have that. What I do have is a degree. I have a DDS. I'm a retired military, 20 years. I have an MBA. We live in a capitalistic society. It's easy for people to hide things because they want to make it work for themselves. That's kind of what we live in. What I can tell you is my electricity was already $1,000 to $1,100 a month. And that was my mom running the AC at 80. So now I have solar and I have batteries, but my power, what I pay, is still about $500. Yeah. When I use my water, I have a little basin in my sink, and I wash my hands, and then I use that to flush the toilet. They can say whatever they want about the water and it being recycled, but look at Aaron Brockovich. What happened with that? PG&E said that they were protecting the groundwater. It was not being protected. So I just get concerned that, we take a back seat. There's no reason to take a back seat. We need to be proactive in our finding of data. Everybody here has said it. And, they can make the research say what they want. I mean, there's research that says, very, very basic things. We just have to have a look at the data centers that are already out there. I think there's one in New Mexico, and they've recorded the lights, the sounds that it's making. I also have tinnitus. So I just think about all the animals, the cows out there, all the other animals that are out there, and even the service members that live out there in Lemoore. I've worked at Lemoore. Anyways, I'm kind of rambling. I just really beseech you to make these really, really clear that you're having these meetings. I only heard it on NPR or Hanford this morning, and that's why I'm here. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, my name's Susie LeMay. I guess technically we live in Hanford, but we're county. We're right on the other side of the airport. My mother-in-law next door is city. It's a long story. Anyway, I know you've heard a lot. I stayed for the entire fair board meeting last night because I wanted to just kind of find stuff out. And they're in trouble. They're struggling. And I am definitely not, I'm definitely against this. I was in tears yesterday. I don't want to have to move. But if we're going to do anything, we need to help them. Right now in Tulare, they were having their meeting because it's going on in Tulare as well. at the fairgrounds as we speak, or it finished. I'm not sure. It could go long. But in that, I found his name's Raul Cantano. I probably killed that. Anyway, it was how Calistoga City, they defeated Global Stack LLC, and I will share this on like Hughes News, and I'll give it to Francisco, and I'll try my best. But it steps on how they defeated Global Stack LLC, and they demanded a public master plan first. And they said that the City and Fairgrounds Board must complete a community-led master plan before entering any private corporate leases. They also said that we all need to lobby the 24th District Agriculture Association Board, which is what owns the Kings County Fair and the Tulare County Fair. And we need to go to those Board of Supervisors and to halt all negotiations until a formal public-facing master plan for the future of the fairgrounds is developed with local input. We were told last night that they can't do that, so we've got to figure out a way. They also attacked Global Stack's emergency response hub. We've got an airport right next to it. We don't need a helicopter pad. They also organized, just, like we're doing, United Public Outcry. They got as many people together as they could. They packed every meeting. We're doing the right thing right now. They came before it was even written, before it was even in the plans. And so we just need to do that and keep mobilizing to flood the Board of Directors meetings. And hopefully the city here can help us come up with some creative ways as well. You council members can help us because it's your city too, and I know you don't want it either. When it really comes down to it, because my 2 houses, if this goes in, we're gonna move. And even if we don't have any money and we just have to leave the land empty, because I can't live that way. I'm already sensitive, and I can't live that way. And it's devastating. When I heard this, devastating. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. LeMay.
Hi, my name's Lacey, and I live very close to where this data center would be. Although I'm not the smartest nor the most educated on this topic, I know enough, and I find it very concerning that this is something that is being talked about at all, and let alone in a town I was born and raised in, where I have friends, family, and a community I care about. I don't have children, but I have young family members, and I worry for their future, their health, and the things that they're being taught is okay to put up with. Along with that, I worry for the animals, our pets, birds, livestock, and even insects. I worry and care about all living creatures that can and will be affected by this. I, as well as many others, do not view this as beneficial or safe for our community in any way. I believe it's a waste of time and resources, and I ask you to do anything you can to not allow this to happen.
Thank you, Lacey.
Hi, my name is Cheryl Berggren. I'm a citizen of 25 years plus in Hanford. I've come and gone a couple of times. My main issue is the data centers, or data centers, however you want to call them. What are they collecting? Are they collecting information on us? Why do we have so many in the United States? Nobody has an answer for that. Nobody says, oh, it's just a data center. Yes, they're polluting our water. Yes, they're polluting our air. They're taking our electricity. All of that, but what are they there for? What are they putting one in Hanford for? I really don't understand. And then that you guys said you didn't have any idea they were coming, I find that kind of hard to believe. And I don't mean to be critical, but I'm just saying, how do you not know? How do they not come to you and say, oh, we're doing this on the fairgrounds? The city's involved in the fair, I think. Or they used to be, I don't know anymore. But I just find it really hard to believe. My sister lives in Utah with a massive one. The whole Salt Lake City has protested it, all of the same thing that we're doing here, and they still got away with it, and they're still building this massive data center. My son-in-law works out on the base. He said it's already being built. There's nothing we can do about it. And he's working out there, and he sees it every day. So for them to say it's not being built, it is. And I don't want to have to pay higher water than I already am. Every time you turn around, the water's up, the electricity gets up, the trash gets raised all the time. Every 3 months now we're going to have to pay $39 for waste? It goes on and on and on. And frankly, I'm on Social Security, and I can't afford it anymore. So look into all that, too. But I think if you guys would just get together, talk to the community, talk to somebody. I called Gavin Newsom's office today. I called David Valadeo's office today and left a message. I don't know. Maybe they'll answer me. Maybe they're not. You know, he does that little Facebook page of what he's accomplished in Hanford or what he's accomplished in Congress. Well, maybe now. Maybe he will help us. I don't know. I'm just hoping. Thank you.
Thank you.
Francisco Ramirez, former mayor of Hanford. First of all, I would like to thank everybody for coming out, especially this new generation. You guys are amazing. I'm getting chills. I'm so ecstatic for you guys coming out because you understand the issues that are affecting our valley. Now, that being said, you know, some people said they're going to have more accountability to this council, and I believe that every city council should have more accountability. Eyes, instead of flock on us, our eyes are going to be on you. That being stated, what we really have to look at is, you know, you talk about, you know, this lady just said about increase after increase for trash, for refuge, for all the in-betweens. Well, if this flock system comes here, the water increase could technically be more, only for the simple fact is that the grid is going to be bearing more. In the process, guess who's going to have to pay for it? All of us. That being said, good evening, Mayor, City Council. My comments tonight are directed to Travis Payton and Mayor Mark Karras. Both of you are running for re-election. The voters of your district deserve to know where you stand on the flock system cameras. By the way, flock data centers combined. That's it. Travis, you are running for a re-election, and you so far have nobody to run against you. That makes it more important for the voters to hear a direct and honest question from you and answer. When I supported cameras, I stood to the lines that it was only going to be for license plate reading, not for support for monitoring our citizens, capturing their surrounding areas, allowing community data to be shared or sold to third parties. These cameras should not be used only for the original intent. Our data should remain under the control of a police department, not private companies, not outside organizations, and not agencies beyond this community. We should not allow technology we should not allow technology that wasn't intended to protect us, but technology to watch over all our abiding citizens. George Orwell warned us about this kind of surveillance in 1984. Today, that warning feels less like fiction, but more of something we must act and prevent now. I'm asking both of you a simple question. Do you support keeping flock cameras on, or do you support turning them off? Your answer tonight, or your refusal to give one, will tell the voters everything they need to know this November at the voting booth. Thank you.
Shane Strawn, City of Hanford. Mr. Mayor, members of the council, I come before you today just like these folks here, very concerned about the future of our city. This is our city and our future that we are looking at right now. And right now, one of the things that we have to look at is these a data center, not a data center, however you want to describe it. You know, it's being looked at, and frankly, it's concerning. And not only that, when you package everything together, you got the flock cameras. What I'm seeing today is big government intruding more and more in our society and our small town every day, and that is something that really concerns me, especially when you're having Big Brother, so to speak, that's looking at every twist and turn that you're doing. When we have privacy, it's becoming more rare every day. And so my saying to you is, especially with these data centers, I've been to Loudoun County. I've seen the suburbs of D.C., and there is data centers there that are just absolutely, it's almost like mind-numbing. When you have residents that complain about those things. I don't know if you heard in the news earlier this year, 3 of the Box Elder County commissioners in Utah just approved a 40,000-plus acre data center right there in that county that's going to consume more water in that agricultural community that you can even imagine. And I feel sorry for those folks. It was a unanimous consent, and you had more folks than you see here today that were very upset and wanted nothing to do with it. But yet Kevin O'Leary and his folks went forward with it and got it approved with those commissioners. Some of the folks earlier were mentioning that, what can you do as a council? Well, I can tell you what you can do. You pay $60,000 to $90,000 a year, maybe even more, with a public affairs firm for the state and the federal government so that you lobby. You pay for lobbyists in this city. That's for the federal and the state. you guys can use that to your advantage, put it to work for you. Help these people out and actually use it to your advantage. Go to Sacramento, go to Washington, D.C., and tell them we don't want data centers. We don't want flock cameras. We don't want these things. You know, these are things that are at your disposal that you can help these folks with. I believe you're using Townsend, if I'm not mistaken. That is someone that you can basically use to your advantage when you go to your lobbying in Sacramento and Washington, D.C. That's a public affairs firm you've hired. Hopefully we can put that money to good use and help these folks out in our city. And let's just make it happen. Let's just see it go away. Big government does not need to be in our city at all at this time. Thank you.
Hi, Robert Stevens. I'm from the city of Lemoore, but I was born and raised here in Hanford. Actually, I had Travis Payton as my math teacher as well, and yeah, and I feel like I'm pretty active in this community. So I kind of wanted to start with something that I feel like this data center is not going to be. So the word about this data center is that it's going to be a edge computing data center, which is different from a regular data center. Really, all that means is that it's supposed to be smaller than regular data centers. But after taking a look at the slides that were provided to Calistoga, California, the size of the data center that they are proposing is 10 megawatts. And I think somebody stole my line earlier. That is the same amount of energy as 8,000 houses. That's basically the load of 40% of Hanford put back onto Hanford again. And these computers, they're going to need water, they're going to need cooling. And where are they going to get this water and this cooling and this power? It's all going to come from right here, you know, the city of Hanford, and yeah, we're all going to have to like take a bite out of what's happening down at the fair. Also, yesterday I presented at the Kings County Commission on Kings County Homelessness Commission, and this is severely going to impact our homeless populations. It's going to have a huge impact on a new facility that's going in right across the street that's being put in by KCAO to distribute food and will be a shelter for homeless people. And will go a long way to get homeless people the help that they need and get them off the streets. But if this data center goes in, it's going to be right across the street from that. And nobody's going to want to go to a shelter that's, you know, so loud all the time, like 60 to 90 decibels, like 24 hours a day. So, thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Hi, my name is Barbara Castle. I live in the belly button of District B. I have lived in Hanford since December of 1978. After finishing college, I worked as a special ed teacher, speech therapist, and a county office administrator until I retired 11 years ago. And I wasn't going to say very much when I got up here, but I made a list while I was standing in line, and I got to find it now. I wanted to start with kind of the sleazy way that Lemoore Naval Air Station handled their project. And I shouldn't blame the Naval Air Station. I believe it was the federal government doing this without the input of basically the people who run NAS locally. They started with a solar plant, which sounded great. They had an environmental impact statement for that. But then the solar stuff all went away. It's not even mentioned in their project anymore, but they have not had a subsequent air quality environmental report, evaluation, whatever it is they call that. So that was my first thing. They also will be using, since they're not having solar panels, they're going to be blasting a number of diesel-powered generators with the the smog that comes from that. If you can imagine standing behind a diesel-powered truck and smelling that all the time. One of the things I learned, just for your information, I'm the president of the Jimmy Carter Club, and a couple of other people in my group have been up here tonight. We had a speaker talk to us, actually a long conversation about data centers. And one of the things we learned from one of our members who actually attends this as a rule but isn't here tonight is that Valley Air should be involved. If there's a data center going in, they should be getting an air quality evaluation, especially if they're using... especially if they're using... anyway, let me finish. And I wanted also to ask, also you should get involved, or they should get involved with Valley Air and make sure that they're cleared there. And is the fairground not a part of Hanford's sphere of influence or interest when you're planning for growth? Because if the fairgrounds area is included in that sphere of interest, I would think that you have a vested interest in making sure that whatever happens in that part of town on a home garden as well, the cemetery that's out there, that's something that you could use as a reason to be involved in the discussions about it. And I had something else I wanted to say, but I ran out of time typing. Thanks.
Thank you.
Hello, Council. This is Andrea. I've met before. Sounds like that it's election season. You see people that you see once every 4 years showing up. It's kind of interesting. I just want to bring a few points. You guys heard about the data centers, the license plate detection. I think that all these concerns should be addressed. I read your guys' policy regarding the license plate detection. They're solid. I don't see any problem with that. And as it comes down to data center, I can give you probably a little bit of a different view on that. As they are looking to build data centers left and right, something that you might be able to leverage is the capacity of bringing some more water here. Because if we have a water problem, it's really not technically for the data center, but because Sacramento just tried a faucet a long time ago. So maybe if they want to put a data center somewhere where it's fine for the citizen, they can bring some more water, release some of that. And with that, also some of those megawatts that we produce all around the Avenel area with those big solar farms that they are not going any of that to Kings County, but they all go to San Francisco. Maybe, a little bit of a trade, that'll be fair. I think that's something that you can leverage. If you want this, then just give us that. The good paying jobs are definitely something that is nice to see. Again, just want to make sure the citizens' issues or citizen concern are taken in consideration. Few things I want to bring up. Measure H, I am part of the oversight committee. I know that we've been producing data every quarter, I believe. The next meeting is going to be at the beginning of August. So if people are interested about finding out how the tax-paying money is getting spent, please come on over, because we've been doing a very good job and trying to keep tabs on what the departments who are asking and how they're spending their money. And so anybody saying that this money had no string attached and they're getting spent anywhere other than what they're supposed to, they have no clue how any of that worked. So I can tell you that so far I saw maybe 2 people from the citizenship wide in the Hanford area showing up. And we had already plenty of those. And also, I do want to congratulate you guys. I think that you guys are the most open council we had in a very long time. I did appreciate your text, Nancy, the day after 4th of July. I do have to say that it's the first time I actually had a 4th of July I could enjoy. It didn't sound like a war zone. You guys did an amazing job with the 4th of July event. I know that can be better next year, and I'm looking forward to that. And I had to give you the kudos, and I think that you guys should focus on the positive stuff instead of the negative, and you have a lot of leverage. You guys will play it out far. And another thing, if you guys are interested in a number, briefly close it, if you guys are interested in a number on Measure H, we'll cover what kind of the shamble the previous councils left this year, why we had to put Measure H on the ballot.
Thank you, Mr. Baroni.
Evening, Nathan Odom, Hanford. Every tyranny faces the same problem. People can move, gather, trade, organize, and resist. Flock helps solve that problem. permanent searchable ledgers of human movement tracked through a national network of over 100,000 cameras watching people accused of nothing. It captures vehicle identity, location, time, direction, distinguishing features. One camera sees a car. A police officer may see someone run a stop sign or not have their seatbelt on. But a network, a national network, is a very, very different thing. I lost my place. I'm sorry. Shoot. Anyway, one camera sees a car, but the AI understands and it learns who we are as individuals, who we associate with, where we go, who we see. If we go to the gun club, if we go to a gun show, if we go to a protest, wherever we happen to go, these databases of American citizens are being built all around us. Palantir is one of the companies that has been hired to build this database. Trump hired them last year to start breaking down federal barriers of information so that this data on American citizens can be shared, right? The CEO of Palantir, Peter Thiel, he's mentioned in the Epstein files over 2,300 times, 2,200 times. Anyway, Epstein invested like $40 million with the dude after he was convicted, right? And just a funny little side note, when Epstein was emailing Thiel, and there's a lot of emails, he was suggesting that he represented the Rothschild banking family, which is one of the richest families in the world. So unless you want the Epstein list deciding which of our rights become privileges and then dangling those privileges in front of our faces like carrots to be withheld if we don't behave, I suggest terminating the contract. And there is no contract or policy strong enough to allow for these cameras because, so Peter Thiel, one of his venture funds, Founders Fund, was early venture funding for flock cameras. And if you know anything about elite venture funding, that's not just money, which again, coming from Peter Thiel, CEO of Palantir, building a national network and national database of American citizens. But anyway, I got way off topic. I do that when I lose my spot. Terminate the contract, get rid of these cameras.
Thank you, Mr. Odom.
Good evening. My name is Lucy Gomez, and I am a proud resident of Hanford and a former educator, former colleague of Travis Payton. And I am in awe of the human intelligence in this room. I don't need a study group. In God we trust. And we began with a blessing of protection for the people of Hanford. And yes, I trust in God, but we must trust in the people, the servants who are elected to protect the citizens who elected them. The echo of the people in this room is loud. It is solemn. It is serious. It's powerful, full of knowledge, human knowledge from experience, from observation, from consequences that impact our health. And what I want is to trust in you. I don't know you. I know you, Travis. And I have faith that you will take this very seriously. And Mr. Martinez, I know that you delivered donuts to our district schools, and I always thank you for that. And I'm sure they were fat-free. Right? Okay. So given that, what I'm saying is you have power supporting you, energizing you to do what's right. We will applaud you, support you in every way we can. But what I don't want to see are excuses of legal counsel saying we can't do this. This is out of our reach. Figure it out. We are human. We are so intelligent. And as Ms. Jorgensen opened earlier, there's a coalition of other cities combating the same hardship and threats in their cities. So please, we want to trust you. Trust us too. Great evening to you.
Thank you, Ms. Gomez.
Esteemed council, my name is Dr. Michael Gage. I live and work in Hanford. I have been a pediatrician here for 22 years, caring for children from birth until adulthood. I am opposed to the growth of data centers in general and opposed to adding data centers here specifically. The health environment has changed dramatically during my career. When I first arrived in Hanford, I warned children about spending too much time with television and video games. Since then, the concern has grown to include teens and preteens living on social media, children having smartphones from a young age, and even toddlers carrying around their own tablets like a security blanket. While technology can benefit us all in many ways, it also has detrimental effects. Screen exposure has substantial consequences, including higher rates of depression and anxiety in teenagers, sleep disruption for all ages, and higher rates of autism and ADHD. We are currently at the mercy of the power generation and electrical grid of our local utilities. We routinely have summer temperatures in the 100s, which makes outside play for children problematic. Our outside temperatures make the Central Valley a high per capita user of electricity in order to keep reasonably comfortable. There are steep costs associated with power usage during the peak hours of the day. What will happen when we are having 10-day streaks of 110 plus degree weather and we start having rolling blackouts again to the strain of the grid? Does anyone believe for a second that a data center will have to slow or stop activities while the rest of us are having to turn up our thermostats or suffer the financial penalties or blackouts? Does anyone believe there will be a decrease in our electric bills because there is a new large power user coming online? Are they really going to be producing enough solar energy day and night to take care of their own energy needs? Data centers have been shown to put out enough heat to create heat islands. While we can only make estimates of how much it will actually increase the temperature, we know that in our already hot climate, 2 or 3 degrees or even a fraction of a degree will have a significant effect on agriculture and human activities. It changes how many days our children can play outside each summer. It affects asthma rates for children. It affects the freezes in winter that shorten the mosquito seasons or control the dormancy and production cycles of the trees and plants. When we discuss adding a data center to Kings County or in Hanford itself, naturally we must look at the pros and cons. A marginal financial benefit and the expansion of big data does not override the need to mitigate electricity and water demand, polyfluoroalkyl, the PFAS, forever chemicals release, increasing local temperature, noise and light pollution, and other economic, environmental, and health impacts. I also propose that anyone who is involved in working with or voting on flock cameras to read 1984 as a prerequisite to flock decision-making and implementation.
Thank you, Dr. Gage.
Rob Bentley. I had 3 minutes of comments prepared for the museum, but I'm going to shorten that to 2 minutes just to congratulate all of you for coming tonight and making your comments. And I'd like to add two of my own. First one is I'm not sure about the new policy in regards to public comment speaking. I was under the impression that we logged in and we were going to be called to the podium. That's what I read, so need some clarification on that. I heard on a podcast recently that 37% of Kings County residents voted in the June election. And I think, as our first speaker pointed out, our legislators and local leaders are to answer to us. But if only 37% of voters in Kings County show up at the polls, I think that says a lot. So we've got to be better about that, Hanford. The other comment related to that is that I know that the city of Hanford is right next door to this property. And so I know that the city council is putting a tremendous amount of investment into the airport, and I'm wondering how this might affect it. I'm also concerned about the National Weather Service adjacent there. How do they feel about it? So those are things that I think should be investigated. Okay, now on to the good stuff. The museum had their car show on June 6th. We had 3,600 visitors who came to downtown Hanford for the event. We had a ton of cars and trucks and bicycles, and this show is growing to be one of the larger community events in Hanford and Kings County, and one of the more popular shows in the Central Valley. So thank you for your support. Everybody can mark your calendars for June 5th, 2027 for our next event. As far as the museum goes, part one concluded this past Sunday of building Kings County, and hundreds of visitors came to see the displays on the origins of Kings County and its communities. And part two opens up on September 19th, and it's going to feature industry, iconic restaurants, churches, banks, media, impacts of highways, fraternal organizations, and much more. So thank you very much, City, for your cooperation in this exhibition, and thank you to all of our donors who have helped make this such a special museum for the community. And finally, the time capsule in front of the police station, we opened that back on July 9th, and the Carnegie Museum of Kings County is going to open up for a 1 week only run of the time capsule contents. So that'll be August 10th through the 15th. Admission is absolutely free. We've got special hours, and rather than take the time to read the hours to you, I'm just going to refer you to our website, carnegiemuseumofkingscounty.org. It's also been posted on social media. We're going to have lots and lots of artifacts. And we just finished digitizing the cassette tapes, and we were listening to radio personalities such as George Eddy and Dean Johnson, and our mayor at the time, Bob Hill, who made a prediction for 2026. But you're going to have to come to the museum to listen to how spot on he was. So thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, Mr. Bentley. And Mr. Bentley, just to clarify it regarding SB 707, which is the online public comment now, we're going to do the in-person public comment first, and then once the in-person public comment is wrapped up, then we will go to those that have registered online.
Hi, my name is Michaela. I'm a resident of Hanford. This is going to be a little bit repetitive, but I just think it's important to say. I speak today as a concerned citizen who wants better for this community. We deserve better. Data centers are cancer to humanity. This sounds so extreme, but it's the truth. If we allow this cancer into our town, it will have catastrophic, irreversible consequences. Data centers have been causing hearing loss and polluting the environment. Do we not have enough respiratory and health issues yet? They've been shown to raise local temperatures by up to 10 degrees. Is it not already hot enough? They take money and water from our people and our home. Has survival not been hard enough yet? Nothing is more important than the safety and well-being of the people. Following that thought, flock cameras are a threat to our freedom and safety. They utilize AI, which is obviously linked to data centers. They're collecting our information, selling our data to private companies, and inching us closer to a full-on surveillance state. The threat of profiling, misuse, and abuse with this information is very real. Allowing this would be a disturbing, shameful betrayal to not just this community, but to society as a whole. We care about the future of this town and the future of this land. We will not go away, and we will continue to speak up and stand up for what is right. Thank you.
Thank you, Michaela.
Hello, City. My name is Michael. I live currently in Armona. Lived in Hanford from about the mid-90s to about 2016, 15. So about the data centers, I was very ignorant on as far as how they operated and stuff like that. But what came to my mind while sitting over there was the water situation. So I believe, to the best of my knowledge, I believe Home Garden still is on well water. Is that correct or not? Does anybody know? Yes? Somebody say yes? Okay. So if that is correct, my thought process is, well, okay, what if we get the data centers, okay? The water that they use, of course, it can be recycled, but it's the chemicals that they're putting inside of the pipes to prevent them from being damaged and rusting and whatnot. So that water can't be recycled in some cases because of the forever chemicals. So, thought came to mind, okay, well, what if there's a spill, intentionally or non-intentional? The people of Home Gardens, not only people of Home Gardens will be affected, the people in the country and whoever else lives nearby that's on that well water will be affected. Maybe not that day when it happens, but in the future. We still have kids being born. We still have people elderly. And it's not only just going to affect Home Gardens if that happens. It's going to really affect other people because many of our relatives are from some of those areas and do live in those areas. So this is my thought. So if the water situation does come to that moment, what are we going to do? It's not an easy cleanup. It'll never be cleaned up. And we're not sure. Well, some people, depends on who you are. If you might not be aware as much as you might not realize how far that water is going down into the ground and going into the water table and going how far out being dispersed. So just a thought that I wanted to bring up to the city and the patrons on that. If there is an issue with the water, a leak, a spill, whatever, what are we going to do and how is that going to affect us for the years to come? Thank you.
Thank you, Michael.
Hello, everyone. I'm Patricia Newton. I'm the pastor over at First Christian. First of all, this has been an enlightening conversation for me. And I'm going to be honest with you. As a pastor, I'm very, very concerned. I'm very concerned about some of the things that I've been hearing as far as the data centers are concerned, because people have a right to live, and they have the right to live healthy, and they have a right to live safe, and they have a right to live with peace and enjoyment. My concern is with that much data coming in, as far as the electricity is concerned and the water, the possibility of the contamination, how fast, especially dealing with the pipe systems. And I know the pipe systems are not great here. I'm from Florida. And but also the businesses. Churches, their electricities go up like triple. So now we're going to talk about another triple. So that is going to be extremely, extremely high, not just for the churches, but also for the residents that are around in those areas. And with situations being the way that they are right now, there has to be a better solution than what I'm hearing. There has to be a better way of coming up with a solution in regards to that. A second reason for coming up here is, of course, is that our church is putting on a health fair, and that's going to be on July the 25th. And it's for some of the reasons that are being named here today, health issues and things like that. And we want it to be a part of the solution. And the same thing here. We want to be a part of the solution to ensure that people are getting the health care that they need. And so we don't want the situation to get worse. We want it to get better. And so my prayer is that you as council individuals, that you will hear the heart of the people, because it's the people that are being affected, that you will hear their heart and do what is necessary to make sure that their needs are addressed. All right? July the 25th from 8 to 12. First Christian Church.
Hi, my name is Audrey Soria. I am a member of the community. I grew up in Hanford. All my, family were born here and everything. So the proposed data center or edge cutting computing that's being proposed at the King's Fairgrounds is very heart, like my heart is like pounding at the thought of all of this. And everyone has so many amazing points already said, and I don't want to say them again because we've heard it and I will probably lose my thought trying to speak it. But I just want to take this time to speak to everyone here and everyone up here that we should all just continue to do our research, because what's going on is terrible. And if, everyone here, some of us, most of us have barely heard about this, that it's going on, in our backyard. So I want to encourage everyone to continue doing their research on Global Stack LLC, on the King's Fairgrounds, on data centers in general and edge cutting, because they want to, Global Stack LLC is saying that they want to build a center of edge cutting computers that are going to be used for resilient security measures or something like that. I'm losing my train of thought. But if we just continue to do our research, everyone please tell your neighbors, tell your family, tell your friends that this is going on, because I already forgot the name of the place, Saratoga, I believe that's how you pronounce it. What is it? Calistoga, thank you. Calistoga stopped Global Stack LLC from coming into their backyards just by community rallying against them, community
speaking out towards this, they decided to put a stop to it because of the backlash from the community. So if we can all come together, get everyone in Lemoore, Hanford, Avenel, everywhere, because this is really, damaging to our environment, to our community, to our livestock, to our health. So thank you.
Thank you. At this time, I'm going to look at our city clerk if we have anyone online for public comment.
We do have one registered, but she is not connected, so she is a no-show.
Okay. That will close public comment. Move on to our agenda here.
Mr. Mayor, can I make a motion that we look at moving item 17A up to the next agenda item, which is our future agenda items, so we could discuss possible garner consensus, and first of all, moving up the agenda item so we can discuss future agenda items.
Looking for a consensus of council?
Yes. All right.
We got it.
So I would like to propose a future agenda item. First of all, I know the flock cameras were brought before I became on council. I'd like to have a study session on what information, just how the progress of the flock cameras since the inception of the flock cameras that have been brought into our community. I'd like to have a study session on that so we can learn more and see the pros and the cons of what's going on. And then also, I would also like to have a, first of all, get a garner a consensus on putting that on the future agenda item.
Yes.
Okay, we have a consensus.
We have a consensus? Okay, thank you. Also, Mr. Mayor, I'd like to get a consensus of what, I want to quote Silva, who said, what can we do? We need to look at what we can do, think outside the box when it comes to data center policy, future policy. What could we do? I know that we are adjacent to a state-owned land of the King's Fair properties, but there are residents of the city of Hanford that will be affected just because it's not our property. What can we do as a city? And so I'd like to have a study session on that as well, so we can look into what we can do, and so we could have those conversations that we could think outside the box, and how we can potentially see if there's policy that we can propose that would possibly prevent any type of data center in the city of Hanford.
And I'll agree with my colleague. I think that we've got a consensus. I mean, first and foremost, thank you all for being here this evening. This is the opportunity for you to have your voices, to us, which I hope we've been attentive and listened to your concerns. And thank you for taking the time out of your busy evening to do that. This is how things happen. This is when you, the community, who we are here to represent, kind of guide us and direct us on how to move forward and things in the future to have and discussions that take place. So thank you for being here. Thank you for taking the time out of your busy evening tonight. As you can see, and I stated earlier, that we'd get it put on the future agenda item on a consent calendar. So we're going to give that direction to the city manager. So.
Yes, and also stay tuned. Visit our website at www.hanfordca.gov, and when it will show the next future agenda items, you could go on there and look at what date or potential dates the meetings will be for those two future agenda items. So I just encourage you to do so you could also be a part of the conversation, and hopefully we could have more people here, and voice our concerns. But also when we do a study session, we have the information session first, and then the public comment section is after the entire study session. So you could get all the information and then have your public time for public comments. So I just wanted to share that bits of information with the community.
I also have another item that I wanted to bring up for council consideration for a future agenda item, unrelated to public comments tonight, but it was on my schedule to talk about. I'd like to talk about murals again and possibly expanding the zones. On December 2nd, 2025, we voted to allow it only in the MXD zone, but since then I've had some different thoughts about it, and there's been some really great ideas for the Longfield Center by Miss Hudgens and Miss, I'm having a brain fart right now, Paula Massey. So do I have council consensus for that?
100%. I thought it needed to be bigger in the first place, so I'm glad that it's coming back.
Thanks, guys.
So do you need,
Are you
good
talking
with
just like
the
city
information
buildings?
to our city manager on what
Yes,
we're looking
Mr.
for?
Mayor, Council, ready to go.
Real fast, I just wanted to say one thing. I saw a lot of faces here that I know, and I really appreciate you guys taking the time out of your schedule. There's a lot of information that I know for me, and I'm sure probably the rest of the council, that we got a lot of information from you, from the research that you guys have done, and we really do appreciate it. But understand, we are working together because we care about the city. We really do, and we appreciate you.
I know I took about 3.5 pages of notes from everything that, and maybe that's the teacher in me, but I also like seeing former students be, and former colleagues as well, just coming up and participating in this process. And it's very important for us to have this conversation. I know that, Mrs. Jorgensen, who spoke on the GWF plant, I remember when I was a young kid, my father was fighting against the GWF plant. And I think that was my first introduction into them wanting to bring a coal burning plant into the city of Hanford. And I think we have a much clearer air now than what we would have had 40 some plus years ago if we did have that GWF plant. And so it just brought back a lot of memories. And thank you so much for coming here and this evening.
One thing that I would like to see if we could possibly do is have it to where Brian has a page that people could take and get him information regarding a lot of the things that was mentioned. If it could be done to where information could be put on there so that we could take and do the research on it, or the research could be done on some of the stuff, so that by taking and doing that, I mean, and not I don't want it to be something where people are pouncing or trying to take and do that. It needs to be something positive, that we're all working together to pull together the information to help us all to take and fight it, because I don't want it.
Is that just the data center?
I'm talking about only the data center is what I was referring to.
I think we have it on the future agenda item.
No, but I mean, if
We
they
can't
submit,
discuss that this evening.
no, I understand that. What I'm saying is, if information that they have, if they provide it to Brian, then the research could be done by the city or whatever for the study session, or whenever we have it. Anyway, that's my thought.
Okay.
All right. So,
Mr. Mayor.
Martinez, go ahead.
I just want to take this opportunity to thank everyone for taking the time to express your concerns and your views here at our council chambers. And I just want to thank you so much for being a part of our government. Thank you.
And thank you for your patience with the heat of so many people in the room as well, because I know our AC is down as low as it could go.
Okay, so we're moving on our agenda to our consent calendar. Consent calendar items are considered routine and will be enacted in one motion. There will be no separate discussion on these matters unless a request is made, and then the item will be removed from the consent calendar to be discussed and voted upon a separate motion. Council, I'm requesting item L to be pulled.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to pull item E and F and L, item L.
L is, yes. Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to approve the consent calendar items A through R, omitting E, F, and the letter L.
I'll second that.
Motion by Councilman Page, second by Vice Mayor Howes. Any discussion? Madam Clerk, roll call, please. Items passed 5-0. So move on to item E, the city attorney to authorize a response to the grand jury report regarding the police department, female hires, and advancement.
Councilmember Martinez.
Yes, Mr. Tavares, I'd just like an explanation as to these two items, on both items E and F, and kind of explain it as to what's going on here.
So, Mayor, if I may,
Councilmember Martinez, so the grand jury is tasked into investigating items that it believes are worthy of its attention. The grand jury issued 2 reports regarding the city of Hanford. One was regarding the PD's hiring practices and advancement practices. A second report included a recommendation for the city to construct something like a marquee sign in Civic Park. So in accordance with the penal code, which requires the city to respond to grand jury reports, my office worked with city staff in putting together the 2 responses that appear in your agenda packet. So the responses were prepared in order to satisfy the requirements of the penal code. So if you have any specific questions regarding the responses, we can address those.
No, none at all. I just want to make sure that the public's aware of it.
Thank you.
I just appreciate that the grand jury's recommendation that all hiring of any of our law enforcement is based off of qualifications, experience, and merit only. And so I think that is super important, that we want the most qualified, the most experienced, and the most, the person that has the most merit, regardless of gender, that they are. So I appreciate their suggestion and their recommendation.
So item L I pulled, this is from Public Works, to approve the purchase of 1 kitchen food concession trailer from usedvending.com from Harry, is it Missouri, I believe? For the amount of $71,444 and the additional appropriation of $44,945 from the ACO or Community Capital Outlay Fund. Staff, I have no questions for you, so I'll take the burden from you there. If you'd like to stand there, you're more than welcome to listen. This is more a conversation I wanted to have with council. So as part of this proposal or this consent calendar item, there were 3, 4, 5, I believe 6 different options. Let me make sure. I believe there's 6 different options for trailers for us to look at. And as I was going through the, all the options and all the amenities and everything that come along with it, I know the one that staff presented to us was a used trailer, a used concession trailer. As I went down through these, I just thought, I'd like to have the council's discussion regarding trailer 056V3, which is $84,530. But it's a brand new trailer. It was built in 2025. No, it's not.
The warranty that's mentioned in that staff report is for the refrigeration only. The 2-year warranty is for the refrigeration, and then an additional, I think it was 3 years for the compressors.
5 years for the compression.
Yeah, it says warranties on all refrigeration, 2 years parts and labor, and 5 years on the compressor.
But it does say in the paragraph right underneath, in the caption, it says it's a new concession trailer for sale.
Right.
What we have found in our research in these, we've learned a lot about food trailers. This one that we're looking at, the one that staff proposed, has more higher-end equipment in it, more of what will be used out there.
Okay.
The $84,000 one, you need to build on that to get it fully operational.
Okay, so as it was presented in the staff report, then I guess that's the question then for you, for us, because this shows that it was manufactured in 2025, and that it was a new trailer that has not been utilized. So there's a build component that has to be.
It hasn't been completely set up.
Okay.
So there's what we have found researching this. There's all sorts of permitting issues, fire issues, everything else. We even have to have blueprints on these trailers to get them permitted.
Then I will bring you into the conversation, seeing as you provided that information. So is the trailer that you've proposed to council to consider, I'm just trying to think of let's do this right the first time. I don't want to do it part way, and I know we're looking for the functionality of it and to be able to utilize it at the Bob Hill Sports Complex, the YAC, as well as being available to the city for use. So I just, is this the best? I mean, that you're wanting us to look at, or is there other options?
Correct. This is the one recommended in the staff report. Is the one staff decided after looking at the equipment, the tongue on this particular trailer can be removed, eliminates a tripping hazard at the YAC. It fits properly in there. We don't have a ton of space, so we don't want to get anything too big. And this trailer proposed is actually 2 foot bigger than the more expensive trailer.
Russ, can you touch on any outreach done with HYB as well?
We have talked to HYBL. They are in support of our purchase.
Mr. Mayor, there's a part of me that when you pulled it, I was going to be pulling it as well, but I kind of want to table this decision and put it as a general business item at our next council meeting, just to have that discussion, because the discussion of, we have a contract with HYB from January 1 to June 30th, and do they have full exclusivity to, those conversations of, do they have full exclusivity of the use of the trailer during that time? But what if, the city would like to use it during those 6 months? Do they have to take out all of their, refrigeration, all their product and everything? And it's going to be this constant. And so I just felt like instead of it being a consent item, I would like to have, because I was also looking at the trailer that you were looking at as well. And I agree with the statement of, if we're going to do it, I want to do it right. And I don't want to, and I'm looking at all of them, and it's to a point where I'd like to have a deeper discussion on that.
If I can. These trailers sell quick. The original trailer that we were looking at, we had the original appropriation for, sold before we could get it picked up. So these move very quick, and these are actually fairly good prices on some of these trailers.
How much would we need to spend on the wrapping of the trailer? Because this trailer is already wrapped with the design is kind of blobbed out, but
I think it was a Greek design. We're estimating about $3,500 to have it wrapped. Between $3,000 and $3,500.
Council, Mr. Mayor, if I may. In addition to, I think, just to share, the thought behind this too was to go to HYB with an addendum to the agreement. So whenever the concession stand is in use, this would go alongside that use. There is a fee associated with the concession stand. And so in talking with Brad and Russ and other staff, we thought that would be the best approach to do an addendum to that agreement. Brad may be able to speak directly on the use that the city would have with the concession or the trailer, I'll say, during periods of non-use. So more specifically during our season, if you will, from July to basically November. And then even in December, too, because we wouldn't be exclusive just to the Bob Hill Sports Complex. We would be able to use it throughout the city for our events. So we see multiple advantages to having this and then adhering to the health and building codes that we have to, or we should be adhering to.
Do we have, because currently I believe it's $50 a day for the concession stand. By adding the trailer, are we proposing an additional fee, or are we keeping that $50 agreement that we have already?
We had thought to keep it the same.
Keep it the same.
To add in there, but just to clarify that would be included.
And can you share with the public why we are considering a trailer? Because right now they're under a gazebo, and
yeah, I'll let Russ explain a little bit more on that, because he got to dive into a lot of that. But then as we dove in, we found we were out of compliance with a lot.
Correct. When we built the concession stand, we did not build a commercial grade kitchen in there, which is required. We found out later on by the county health board. Cooking outside was permitted on a temporary basis, but it's not a permanent solution that the county is willing to sign off on. And then we also had some internal regulations that we needed to meet as well.
And was this trailer that staff recommended, did HYB see the choices of the trailers, and did they concur with you that they were in agreement that this was a trailer that they would like to see for baseball, and their 6-month use of this trailer, and it would kind of suit what needs they need in their concessions that they offer?
The original trailer that we had proposed for purchase, they had signed off on. They were in agreement on that purchase. This trailer is actually more suited, better outfitted than the previous trailer.
But did they agree to this trailer as well?
I'll let Mr.
Yes,
answer that one.
Okay.
Good evening. Good evening, Mayor, fellow councilmen. The board did agree to the trailer. Unfortunately, the original 2 that we were looking at both sold before we could even get it on council's agenda. They do like the trailer idea. The concessionaire was pro-trailer. Their thoughts is that they would like to get the trailer and see if they could fundraise to possibly build a structure out there, a more permanent thing in the future, but they would be willing to use the trailer and see what they could do fundraising-wise for the future.
Does the trailer have air conditioning?
It does have air. That was one of the specs that we required on it.
I think we should trust that staff knows what they're doing with this trailer. And the main thing is, like, the way it stands right now, they can't serve any fried foods out there. And being somebody who spent a lot of time out there, those are big hits out there, the fried foods. So I feel like food trucks are very popular, and they're coveted. So, and especially when you're buying something used, I think we need to trust staff. And they have worked with HYB, and the main thing is HYB wants a kitchen that they can do the fried foods in, which this would provide. So I think we need to trust staff on this one.
How do we get it here? Is the price including that?
So this one's actually in Santa Maria, and we can drive there and pick it up.
Okay, and the extra, roughly $44,000 that it says from accumulated capital outlay, is that to take and do anything else to it, or what?
So that is for the overage. We originally had $30,000 budgeted, and so that is for the purchase, the wrapping, and then for any licensing or fees that we will incur to transfer the title into the city's name.
Okay, thank you. So basically, does that include any upgrades or anything that we need to take and do to the trailer to take and make it what we want it to be?
So in speaking with the broker that we're dealing with, this is a very good trailer in very good condition. And so we don't see any major needs with that. It would be more of, tying in the sewer, water hose, things like that, and some power upgrades out there. But other than that, there would be nothing more. And we have a junction box there already, so it's just a matter of pulling wire to get the proper amperage.
With the way that sometimes trailers get stolen, do you guys have a way to secure it very good out there?
So we would put this on jack stands, remove the wheels, also remove the hitch. That's an option on this trailer. And that was one of the concerns with the board, that it would look kind of chintzy, for lack of better words. But in talking with them, we would put a skirt around the bottom, kind of dress it up to make it look more of like a permanent thing during the season. But that is something that we've talked about to make it where it was not easily stolen.
Not a target.
Yeah.
Okay.
How many people could we fit in this trailer?
I believe it
says food service.
I believe it says it's 4 to 5.
Okay.
Could fit in there while preparing.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
Thank you.
Well, thank you all the staff for the information. So
I appreciate it.
I'll make a motion that we accept items E, F, and L.
I'll second that motion.
A motion and a second. Any discussion? Madam Clerk.
I am going to do a roll call vote because that was 3 items. Councilmember Martinez.
You want to do each one individually?
No, this is faster.
Okay.
Councilmember Martinez. Councilmember Reagan.
Yes.
Councilmember Payton.
Yes.
Vice Mayor House.
Yes.
And Mayor Karras.
Yes. So all items on the consent calendar have been approved. All right, next we're going to be moving on to our public hearing segment of the night. So item A is from Public Works, and this is a public hearing to receive ballots and public testimony on proposed funding changes and assessment increases for fiscal year 26-27 for the Quail Run Estates Landscape and Lighting Maintenance Assessment District in the city of Hanford. Following the close of the public hearing, the ballots will be opened and tabulated with the results certified and reported prior to the close of the city council regular session. Authorization for staff to implement the assessment changes based on the certified results. Council, I'm also looking at the clock.
I was just going to say.
It is 8:54 p.m., and we have our council rule to try to have our meetings finished by 9. I need a consensus from council to go beyond 9 p.m.
Yes, what do you think? We need a half an hour or
we have
45 minutes?
Well, we have 4 public hearings and a general business item.
I would make a motion to go until 10 o'clock before, if we finish earlier.
Yeah, we don't, just a consensus. Do we?
It's a consensus to move forward. Okay.
Okay, looks like we have the consensus to proceed to 10 o'clock. So at this time, we will open up our public hearing, and I will ask staff to present. Thank you.
Good evening, Mayor, fellow council. We're here tonight to receive public testimony and ballots on the Quail Run Estates. I'm sure council remembers this item from previous. So a little background on the Quail Run Estate subdivision. It was originally established and approved by City Council in 1994 and was completed over 5 construction phases, bringing the total lots to 272. The original maintenance assessment was $37 per lot and was later increased to the current $59 in 2008. Quail Run was also balloted in 2021 for an increase to the assessment, and that failed to receive the majority vote, and we're here tonight again to reballot this district. And then why are we here? We're here to receive the ballots and public testimony on proposed funding changes, assessment increases for 26-27 of the Quail Run Estates Landscape and Lighting Maintenance Assessment District in the city of Hanford. Following close of public hearing, ballots will be opened and tabulated with results certified and reported prior to the close of the city council regular session, authorizing staff to implement assessment changes based on the certified results. As part of the ballot process, ballots must go out 45 days prior to tonight's public hearing. Therefore, on June 3rd, 2026, a total of 272 ballots were mailed to property owners. And then this is some of the community outreach that we've done in the past, and I'm sure council remembers the February 4th. We did this whole ballot process, and unfortunately it failed at that time. We received a lot of community outcry from residents and property owners in the district. And so this is a little timeline on that. Originally, it failed 42 yeses to 55 noes. After that, we received a lot of the public outcry. On May 13th, property owners within the Quail Run Estates District presented Councilman Payton with a community-driven petition containing signatures from the majority of the parcels in the Quail Run Estates District. City staff were able to verify those petitions containing 139 of the 272 property owners reaching the majority threshold. On May 19th, 2026, Council reached consensus to bring the Quail Run Estates reballoting back to a future meeting for discussion, and that's why we're here tonight. So on June 3rd, we mailed out the 272 ballots. We actually had a lot of public outcry after that, asking questions. Some property owners that were new property owners brought in their deed and things like that to show that they were indeed the property owners to get a ballot. So staff has invested a lot of time, and we're hopeful that it will pass tonight. And with that, we're asking council take the following actions: conduct a public hearing to receive ballots and public testimony on the proposed funding changes, amend amendment and assessment increases for the maintenance of balloted Quail Run Estates Landscape and Lighting Maintenance Assessment District. Direct staff to open and tabulate ballots and to certify the results. And 3, with a majority that approved changes, direct staff to implement those proposed changes. Authorize the placing of the increased assessment amount on the 26-27 property tax roll. And then this is the recommended motion.
Okay, so if you'd like. Okay. All right. So I have a request from a council member to take a brief recess. So we'll take a 10-minute recess and come back at 9:10.
All right.
Session. Thank you for your patience. Staff, I hope I didn't cut you off during your presentation. Were you finished on your end? Thank you. So, does the council have any questions for staff regarding?
First of all, I would just want to publicly thank Angela, Becky, Shelby, who have been not only advocating for their neighborhood, but going to the other neighborhood and advocating and help educating the community about the importance of the built-in escalator. So I just want, and I don't know, Angela, what the names of your 2 children? Renzo and Rhea. They would go door to door as well. Please don't shut down our park. You know, and so tugging at the heart. But thank you so much, you guys, and please, all the other helpers that are not here today, publicly thank them as well.
Yeah, and I'm just, I'll just add to that a little bit. You know, I know we have a lot more LEDs that are going to be coming in the future, right? To have this discussion, and I would hope that you don't quit your effort. I will be making some phone calls to you to solicit some input.
Angela is the go-to person.
Right
there, she is.
They're throwing Angela under the bus. So, but yeah, I think as we move forward, I think if you have any input, advice, strategies, or whatever that you think might be helpful for these other LEDs, it would be greatly appreciated. I know by the council up here as we move forward. Okay, so at this time, we'll if there's no questions from council.
We could go to public comment.
Right.
Okay.
So we're going to open up the public comment, and we'll open up public comment for those in favor first. 5 minutes will be allowed for each speaker. Please begin by stating your name and providing your city of residence. Any public comment in favor? Okay, seeing none. Any public comment in opposition? Seeing none there, okay? We'll close public comment. We're going to allow for any additional discussion from council or any questions.
We're just counting. You have your Facebook post ready to go for the to announce. They even created a Facebook group just for the neighborhood. And you guys have been having little get-togethers as well as a neighborhood at the park, and that's awesome. So
once the tabulation for the ballots is complete, staff will announce the results. And so once, depending on what those results are, we will
do we have Jeopardy music or something that we can play it on the phone?
Council, I might recommend we let staff continue balloting. I think they're still a few minutes away, and then maybe move on to the next presentation at least.
Okay. So we'll keep the ballot counting in process, and we'll suspend that portion of it. We'll move on to our item B, which is Public Works, and this is the public hearing to receive ballots and public testimony on proposed funding changes and assessment increases for fiscal year 26-27 for the Portofino Landscape and Lighting Maintenance Assessment District in the city of Hanford. Following the close of the public hearing, the ballots will be opened and tabulated with the results certified and reported prior to the close of the regular city council meeting. Authorization for staff to implement the assessment changes based on the certified results. So at this time, we'll open up the public hearing for item B.
Good evening, Council. Little background on Portofino is a subdivision originally established and approved by the City Council in 1992 and was completed over 4 consecutive phases, bringing the total lots within the Landscape and Lighting District to 78. The original assessment was $58.50 per lot. The Portofino Landscape and Lighting District has not been balloted in the past for an assessment increase. The district maintenance has been eliminated to reduce expenditures and reduce the budget deficit. Staff is presenting a ballot measure to increase the maintenance assessment to the property owners within the Portofino Landscape and Lighting District to restore maintenance and update aged landscaping and irrigation. We're here today to receive ballots and public testimony on proposed funding changes and increases for 26-27 for the Portofino Landscape and Lighting District in the city of Hanford. Following the close of public hearings, ballots will be counted, tabulated, and results certified and reported prior to the close of city council regular session. Authorizing staff to implement assessment changes based on the certified results. As part of the balloting process, ballots must go out within 45 days prior to tonight's public hearing. Therefore, March 24th, a total of 78 ballots were mailed to the property owners. A little on our community outreach. June 3rd, we mailed 78 corrected ballots. We did have a typo in the original balloting, so we had to reballot them. They were mailed out June 3rd. Saturday, April 18th, city staff conducted a community meeting at Portofino. There was no attendance from the residents or property owners at this meeting. We were prepared to answer questions, provide information on how the assessments worked, where the money went to, and what was provided. We also sent out a series of 3 postcards to property owners with information on the balloting process, important dates, and a QR code to register for the community meeting. So tonight we're here. Staff recommends the City Council take the following actions. Conduct a public hearing to receive ballots and public testimony on the proposed funding changes, amendment, and assessment increases for the maintenance of balloted Portofino Landscape and Lighting Assessment District. Direct staff to open ballots, tabulate ballots, and certify the results. With a majority vote that approves changes, direct staff to implement the proposed changes and authorize the placing of increased assessment amount on the 2026-27 property tax roll. And with that,
thank you, Mr. Sterling. So at this time, I'll ask staff to begin the opening and sorting of ballots, and I'll defer to council to see if they have any questions or comments.
No questions at this time.
Okay. No questions. We're going to open up public comment for those in favor.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. The beautiful city council. I don't know who I'm going to run against, but we got to change our ways. I didn't come and talk earlier because I don't want to have an insurrection like they did in the White House.
Mr. Barr, this is a public comment strictly related to the Portofino Landscape Assessment District.
Can you give me a quick brief, because I don't know what that is. What is that regarding?
So are you a resident of the Portofino area?
Where is that at?
So I will take that as a...
I don't think so.
It's 10th Avenue by Highway 43.
Nope. I'm 10th Avenue between Iona and Idaho. That's not part of the area.
No, that is not the Portofino.
Okay.
I'm sorry, this public comment
forget it.
only for that.
So we'll end right there.
Thank you.
Thank you. I'll speak later.
Any public comment regarding opposition? Okay, seeing none, I'll close public comment. Any discussion from council? All right, so at this time, we will suspend this portion.
I believe we may have the results.
Let me get it. We're going to suspend
sorry,
this public hearing regarding.
Not sure anybody's
Portofino-
interested in that.
Portofino Landscape and Assessment District, and I'm going to look to staff for the results on the Quail Run Estates balloting.
We have is there a total on here? We have a total of 86 approved and 30 disapproved, with 1 received and a no vote. I mean, without a vote, I'm sorry.
Could you state those numbers again? 86 approved.
86 approved, 30 disapproved.
And you said 1 ballot.
1 ballot with no vote on it, unmarked. Good. So I can certify that the results of the proposed assessment increase has been approved.
Yes. Mr. Mayor, I just, first of all, once again, thank you to the residents of Quail Run. I believe a question that they will be asking is what's next. And so does that mean mowers are going out on Monday, or on Wednesday or Thursday because it's an edging, or what are we going to do? So, you know, I could best inform my constituents and on the next steps moving forward.
With council's direction, we can get the contractor out there and start doing the weekly service.
I make a motion.
Council, I may interject here. It is important to realize that the money is not coming in tomorrow. It is going to take a while for money to come in, so we do have to be judicious on how we roll out service. So we need to keep a close eye on that. But first and foremost, council does need to take action to direct staff to implement the changes to.
Yep. Yes. So I'll make a motion to implement the changes to the Quail Run Landscape Assessment District.
And I'll second that.
Okay, we have a motion by Councilman Payne, seconded by Vice Mayor Howes. Any discussion, Council?
Just a big congratulations. You ladies did this. Like, it is your hard work. So I'm just so happy for you all, and kudos, like, hats off.
And I want to agree, like what our city manager says, that unfortunately the flower beds are not going to have flowers immediately. One, you don't want to plant flowers in this heat, you know, and hopefully we can get something when the temperatures cool down and all of that. So make sure, you know, we can kind of inform the constituents of that, you know, council has directed staff to move forward with the contracted services and getting the clean, and the water's not going to be shut off and the bushes are going to be trimmed and all of that. But when it comes to the beautification, hopefully we're hoping that when will the assessment take place? I know it's an agenda item C, but when does that naturally take place?
So we have to have it submitted to the county by August 10th, and then we won't see that funding until the end of the year.
Okay.
And the tax roll.
Okay. And the tax roll is done.
Mm-hmm.
We can get that
I
information.
think you guys need to do a block party.
Yes.
You ladies deserve a nice icy margarita.
And if you want to invite council, we can we could join you with water or something. Yeah.
I'm starting the vote.
So we're starting to vote, yes. Congratulations, ladies. Well done. So I will, at this time, reopen item B. Have the ballots been tabulated for item B? Okay. So, Madam Clerk?
For Portofino District, there are 4 approves with 14 disapproves. So I can certify that the results of the proposed assessment increase has not been approved.
Thank you. So we don't need to, we have no motion then on this item. Balloting has failed. Okay, we'll move on to.
Well, maybe the question be for staff. So it's just for the record, what transpires now for Portofino? Is water shut off? Is what would transpire with the basin? And
the water is currently at a minimal, just to try and support tree health. And we would continue to do minimal service to eliminate any hazards or safety concerns out there, unfortunately.
This district doesn't have a neighborhood park.
It doesn't have a park. It's just the landscape along Fargo Avenue.
Any other questions or comments? All right, move on to item C, Public Works. This is the public hearing to receive public input regarding the proposed reduction, no change, or proposed increase in the assessment and imposition of the annual assessment for the City of Hanford's landscape assessment districts per annual engineer's report for fiscal year 26-27, and adopt resolution 26-50-R ordering the levy and collection of an annual assessments pursuant to Chapter 3 of the Landscape and Lighting Act of 1972. So at this time, we'll open the public hearing on that, and I'll defer to staff again. Gentlemen?
Good evening, Council. I'd like to give a brief overview of our landscape and lighting districts. We have 44 total landscape and lighting districts throughout the city of Hanford. 28 of those have a CPI index that we can increase their assessment by 3%, and this is based off of the CPI index that we receive from December of 2025. 14 of these landscape and lighting districts will not be increased, and 6 of these LEDs were balloted, with 4 receiving a majority protest, and we've seen the results of the other 2 tonight. Unfortunately, we were hoping to have the final 2 pass, but we're happy that we got the 1. Resolution 2650R identifies the assessment districts within the city limits of the city of Hanford, identifies the districts that will increase their assessments from the previous year, including the imposition of a 3% annual CPI increase in accordance with the California Government Code Section 53739B1, and that's 28 of those districts. It also identifies the maximum assessment rates for the 16 districts that do not include an inflationary adjustment and are set at the maximum rate. We currently have 12 landscape districts that are in a deficit. This means the assessments are lower than the maintenance and operational costs. The majority of the deficit landscapes do not have the annual CPI escalator. We do have one that is under budgeted, and that is due to a lot of tree work that had to be done with some recent storms. So it set that one back, but we're confident with a reduction in service that will balance and we can again restore to level A service. And that is Walnut Forest. The service levels in all deficient LEDs have been adjusted to try and meet or match available district funding. 6 LEDs have been balloted with minimal success. Again, we're happy that we got the 1 passed. Only the property owners within each district with no CPI escalator can increase the assessment through balloting processes. And then for LEDs with available fund balances, a minimal operational reserve will be maintained. Historically, in the past, that has been 6 months of their expenditures. We will keep that in reserve, and then any funding thereafter could be used for enhancements. And staff will prioritize districts based on available funding, district needs, and seasonal constraints. And with that, our recommended actions is conduct a public hearing in accordance with the Landscape and Lighting Act of 1972, Article, I can't even say that one, but Section 4 of the California Constitution to receive oral and written testimony regarding the proposed reduction, no change, or proposed increase in the annual assessment and imposition of a standard annual CPI increase in the annual assessment amount, and 2, adopt the attached resolution 2650R confirming the levy of annual assessments pursuant to Chapter 3 of the Landscape and Lighting Act of 1972 for the above referenced districts. And I just wanted to make some clarification for council. You may have seen that there's 4 resolutions inside your packet, and that was based off of the outcomes for tonight's balloting. So with that, we will approve the one that has Quail Run passing and the others failing. And with that, we can answer any questions council may have.
Council, any questions for staff? We need to take public comment on this item. So we'll open up the public comment for those in favor. Seeing none, we'll go to public comment for those in opposition. Okay, seeing none. Council, any questions or comments?
I guess just the only comment that I have is, when we did our study session with AB 1572 and how it's going to affect the landscape assessment district, my concern is getting that information out to the community or those LADs of what is going to be transpiring down the line, because we're, where you see grass, you're not going to see grass. Where you see trees, we will do our best to keep the trees, and that doesn't go with shrubs or anything like that from what we were talking with AB 1572. But I think just being transparent and making sure that they understand that their fund balances may decrease a lot, because if we put that ground cover that replaces the grass, it goes along with the irrigation, and also all of that work is prevailing wage, correct? Or unless it is done by city staff. Am I correct on that?
Correct. If it's done by city staff, it's not prevailing wage. It's removing of the turf will be a massive undertaking that I don't feel we'll be able to perform with city staff. It'll more than likely have to be contracted out.
So that with that prevailing wage at $65 an hour, it's going to diminish everybody's fund or all these LAD fund balances, and then we may be put into a situation where those that don't have an escalator are going to be really out of luck, and we're going to have these tale of two neighborhoods in our city, and that's not good. And that's the state telling us what we need to do. City has to enforce it, and I'm not a fan. Let's just put it that way.
No, as staff, we agree. It is going to be very difficult to make those decisions and to figure out how we're going to achieve that goal. But we do agree that a lot of public outreach needs to be done, and that's something that we will bring back to council when we come back with those municipal code changes.
Because we have January 1st, is that correct?
Yeah.
2029, I thought.
We have
LADs.
2027 for the initial implementation, but it's not for the LADs. It would be till 2029.
What we have to do as a city is have our ordinance updated to have the verbiage in there for the AB 1572. We don't have to have the changes implemented until the date of the 2031.
2031.
Yeah. Okay. But commercial will have to start in 2029.
Mr. Mayor, Mr. Johnson would like to.
I just wanted to add that recently on a webinar about AB 1572 and plenty of online resources for local government agencies that I'm going to take advantage of. So keep that in mind. We have some toolkits that are kind of ready to go.
Okay, perfect. I just know when we first met, I know when city staff met with Quail Run, we had a lot of questions. We had high engagement. Then when it failed, I was able to go out there and we had 25 residents, and there was a lot of, they felt like they didn't understand, what an LAD from, I don't know what an LAD is, to why is this happening, so that education I think is super important. So I appreciate all the efforts that you'll be doing. That's all I have.
Any other questions or comments from staff? Okay, so
go ahead and
make
a motion. Motion for approval.
We got a motion by Councilman Payton to approve as presented by staff.
I'll second it.
Second by Vice Mayor Howes. Madam Clerk. Item passes 5-0.
Thank you.
Thank you, gentlemen. Next item is item D, the city attorney's, the approval of a resolution of necessity for acquisition of 203 East 7th Street, Kings County Assessor's Parcel Number 012-045-001 by eminent domain and declaring a certain real property necessary for public purposes. And I believe that our city attorney...
Yes, Mayor. I'm going to recuse myself due to a conflict.
Thank you.
My colleague will handle this matter. Thank you.
Welcome back.
Right. And then Mr. Martinez is also recusing himself. Okay, so at that time we'll open up our public hearing, and I'm going to look to our attorney, Mr. Nick Matoyan.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and good evening, Council. Good to be with you again. Before you, you have a resolution of necessity for the acquisition of 203 East 7th Street, which is Kings County Assessor's Parcel Number 012-045-001 by eminent domain, and declaring certain real property necessary for public purposes. Staff and the City Attorney's Office have been in communication with the owners of the subject property and their counsel, Consors Conway, to acquire the above referenced property. This will be part of the public safety facility. Staff has made several offers to these property owners, all of which have been rejected. About a month and a half ago, the city sent the property owners through their counsel an updated offer, which did include the appraisal done by Hauer and Associates in the sum of $420,000, which represented an amount above the fair market value as determined by that appraisal. To date, the city and the property owners have not been able to reach an agreement. So staff is returning back to council to ask council to adopt the attached resolution of necessity, which is ready for adoption by the council. The statutory requirements for the adoption of the resolution of necessity have been met, and notice has been provided to the property owners through their council, which is required to be given 15 days prior to that meeting, which it was given about 45 days ago. So when adopting the attached resolution of necessity, the City Council must find that the public interest and necessity require the project, that the project is planned or located in the manner that will be most compatible with the greatest public good and least private injury, and that the property sought to be acquired is necessary for the project. And currently, the property is a vacant commercial property. And passage of this resolution of necessity does require a 2/3 vote of all members of the City Council. With that, I will open it up to questions.
Council, any questions for our city attorney? Okay, so seeing none, we're going to open up public comment. We will go to those in favor of first. Seeing none, do we have any online in favor of? Okay. And how about we'll open up public comment in opposition? Seeing none in the audience, any opposition online? Seeing none. So council, any questions, comments? I just want to say, I know this topic is always difficult to talk about. When we start talking about eminent domain and we start talking about property and things like that, but you know, I know for myself, you know, I've spent a lot of time really kind of considering this, and I would never want to take away, you know, or go into a business that was, you know, operational and basically telling them, hey, we're taking your property, we need it for the betterment of the community. But this building or this area that we've been talking about is the old Robert Chevrolet area. It's been underutilized for many, many years. There's been some large improvements to our downtown with the new cart station and with the plans that we have in redeveloping downtown, the East Lacey corridor, and things that are going that way. So, you know, this is one that, although it, you know, it is difficult to make a decision. I mean, this truly is in the best interest of our community. to be able to have a location for our new public safety building. Our current building, the police station, is over 50 years old. We don't have enough room. It has its own set of issues that come along with that, and it's very critical that we look at in moving forward. So with that, I'm definitely in favor of this, and I will make a motion to approve this resolution. Make sure I get the wording correctly. Of necessity for the acquisition of the 203 East 7th Avenue, or East 7th Street property. And I'll defer to my colleagues if they have any questions or
None. No. Second that.
I would like to say it's something that is hard for all of us to take and make a decision on something like this. But whenever you really think about the bigger picture, it's like whenever you drive to Fresno or to any other town and you see the freeways and all of these other things, that at some point in time, those were somebody's properties. And for the betterment of the community, the betterment of the people, different people in the positions that we're in had to take and make those choices to take and choose to take an eminent domain them whenever nobody wanted to, whenever we're sure that there were some people that did not want to take and do it. But we are taking and offering fair market value based on an appraisal. So it's not like we're taking and trying to take advantage of somebody. We're taking and trying to do what's right for the people in this community that have put us in these positions to do these hard choices. Anyway, thank you.
Did we have a second? I'm sorry. Okay, I'm sorry. So we have a motion and seconded by Vice Mayor Howes. So if there's no other questions or comments, Madam Clerk, roll call. I am proud to say the item passes 4-0, abstention. Councilman Martinez. Thank you.
Thank you.
We'll close this public hearing, and we'll move on to our general business. Item A, Utilities and Engineering, notice to change the public hearing date for the proposed Prop 218 wastewater rate increase from August 18th, 2026 to September 1st of 2026. Mr. Centeno, good to see you, sir.
Utilities Engineering Director. This next item is a recommendation for the City Council to move the Prop 218 wastewater fee rate increase public hearing date from August 18th to September 1, 2026. If you may recall, the City Council directed staff to initiate the Prop 218 process for a wastewater fee rate increase at the June 16th City Council meeting, and at that same meeting set a public hearing for August 18th. Unfortunately, the preparation of notices required more time than anticipated, and in order to meet the required 45-day advance notice, staff is recommending that the council move the public hearing to September 1st. A bit presumptuous here, but the notices were mailed out last week and it reflect the September 1st hearing date. The next steps here, September 1st, of course, this would be consideration to adopt wastewater fee rate increase, and that would be absent a majority protest. And if adopted, then staff would return back for authorization of wastewater revenue bond financing. And then just a quick update on the wastewater treatment facility project. That project is the design is underway. As you know, that a limited notice to proceed was issued to Optera. So the design build team, which is Optera, their designer Pace Engineering, and Clark Brothers, a contractor, they're working together and proceeding with the design. And then on the solar project, The work has been completed. However, we're waiting for Edison to energize the project. So that concludes my presentation, unless there's questions for staff.
Council, any questions for staff? Seeing none, I'll entertain a motion.
Mr. Mayor, I'll entertain a motion to notice the, I'm sorry. I move to approve a revised Prop 218 public hearing date of September 1st, 2026 for the consideration of a wastewater rate increase.
We have a motion by Councilman Payton, second by Councilman Martinez. Any other questions or comments? Madam Clerk. Item passes 5-0.
Thank you, Council.
Thank you. Next item on the agenda is council reports. These are brief informational reports from the city council or staff, including the committee reports and reports by the city council related to the meetings attended at the city's expense. Council have any council reports?
I just wanted to say thank you to our city manager, our city staff, for when they opened the time capsule. I think it was a great event, and looking forward to it being displayed at the Carnegie, and so we can actually look at everything up close. Appreciate that very much. I want to thank the community for that. Thank you.
And also, I just want to say on August 12th is the 135th birthday of the city of Hanford. And is there any, I was just going to talk to the city manager, is there anything that staff is planning or in the process or working together with other entities, et cetera?
Councilman Payton, I have been in contact with Main Street Hanford and organizing or figuring out and organizing a cake cutting event for the city's birthday. So tentative plan is to have it on the 13th, which is a day after, I think I got it right, day after.
Because Wednesday is the 12th, the actual birthday.
Wednesday the 12th is the actual birthday. So
Thursday
night market would be the date to do the cake cutting event. So still to firm up details on that, but tentatively that is the plan, so folks can pencil that in, and council is please pencil that in to attend as well.
We also need to take and specify what a great job Brad and the rest of the city did to do the fireworks show. From everything I've heard from people, it couldn't have came off better. You guys did a great, great job and everything, and I know it took a lot of work, and we really, really appreciate it. And my goal is for it to be the first one in a long list of them coming.
Councilwoman Regan, just real quick, staff will be bringing back a summary and update, first off on the illegal fireworks, It's Not Worth It campaign effort, and after that we'll be providing an update on the Freedom Fest and get some numbers and a report on that as well.
I do want to commend our firefighters and our police force for their diligent drone usage, and you see the reports of, you know, as much information out there, and I saw some social media comments of, you can't say they weren't warned of sorts, you know, and I just commend all the firefighters and the police officers because they were out and about in full force, and so I appreciate their service.
I really wish, though, whenever we have something like this here, if it doesn't happen this year, I would love if we did it by next year, is have it to where the people that get cited for it, that there ends up being the public notification of who was arrested. It's kind of like somebody gets a DUI. You can see who got the DUI. And if somebody's taking and putting everybody's property at risk and everything else, I would love, you know, I feel like it just gives a little bit more piece to it. Anyway, that's my thought. It's also almost 10 o'clock, so
Nancy, do you have anything?
take that into consideration.
Nothing? So I'll just be real brief too. To Brad, to Chief Perkins, all of our staff. You know, and when I say all, I'm talking everyone. I mean, when we talk about the success of Freedom Fest this year and the positive comments that we've received, that was only achieved because of your hard work and your dedication and putting this together for us. The community thoroughly enjoyed it. I enjoyed it that night. Councilman Payton was one of the greeters as people came in, and I, you know, it was there was a couple, a family that came in when we were visiting for a minute from
that's
from
right.
Florida.
They were from Florida. They were visiting, and I didn't tell you this, Brad. I'm sorry. Now's the time. They were visiting from Florida, and they were staying up in Three Rivers. And so they were on social media looking at the different fireworks events that they had down there. And they came across Hanford, and they're like, hey, let's drive down the mountain. Let's go. And they were just pleased. They saw all the food trucks. They were just very happy campers. I also want to commend the CERT team for putting out the majority of the illegal fireworks. I know Rob Bentley, Dennis Ham, I went with them and we did it one Saturday, we were putting up the signs. We were putting up the signs in the parks and local areas where people, that was more than one day. I only did one day. You guys did a whole lot more than I did, but thank you for asking, and it was a good time going around and picking up the signs, putting them out.
Previous years, it has seemed like a war zone for several days even before that. And I was thinking the night before, I don't think I've even heard a single fireworks. And I live up by Dowdy and Fargo. Hadn't even heard one. So, I mean, your campaign that you did, basically people got the message and everything else. Now, I've heard that after the 4th, on the 5th, 6th, 7th, or whatever, that they may have thought, and got a little bit crazy. But you guys, I feel like what you guys planned and the way you did it was excellent. And we're really, really thankful for it.
So I'll just continue my appreciation for all of you. We as a community benefited from your hard work and dedication. Chief Perkins and to your staff that were there at the fireworks show at Freedom Fest that evening. I got to spend a few minutes with some of your personnel that were there. The drones were up. They were online. They were showing me the video. I know there's been a lot of work that's been done, but thank you. Thank you for being forward-thinking. Thank you for bringing it to council to be able to do that. And Brad, again, you just knocked it out of the park for us. So this isn't a testament of us. This is you and your hard work and your dedication. And so I'm eternally grateful for your hard work. So thank you. Hold on. The other thing, just on the meetings that we attended, I attended the Kings County Homeless Collaborative meeting yesterday, and the results for the 2026 point-in-time count have been released. And I just want to say that for Kings County, there was a decline for 2026 by 8.9%. Total numbers for the county were 275. Of those 275, 100 were chronically homeless. These are people that have been homeless for a long, long period of time. 38% of those were first-time homeless. So to give you an idea of where we're at, Hanford for 2025 had 280 homeless. For 2026, we're at 261. Again, I think this comes to recognize and pass on to staff. And I'm looking at the chief of police now with our HEART team and their dedication and hard work with the reunification that they do and the reconnecting of those contacts they make in, day out. It's having an impact. And so please pass that on to your staff that, these aren't big jumps. They're not going to be big jumps. It's never going to go totally away, but it is being impactful. And so I'm proud to see that there was a reduction. I just asked, that we always keep that in mind. Part of that reduction, I'll be honest with you, was the Sunrise housing units that came online. We talk about North Star, but North Star was a factor in that as well. We've got the Barbara Seville shelter that has 38 beds, which covers the domestic violence side of things. So, and then as you all know, we're actively working with KCAO to get the Slowberry shelter done. So the hopes is on that we will be able to do groundbreaking maybe September, October. They're still working with the city to get the plans approved. But once that gets done and making some engineering changes, the prices have gone through the roof. So the original cost estimates have gone up, but they still are on track. They have enough funding to get the first phase complete. So just want to give you an update, as far as where we're at as a community. So other than that, I have no other comments.
What I was going to say is I had gone out. There was somebody that I knew that lived out by the fire that was out by the airport. We drove out there to see how close it was to their house on the day after 4th of July. And whenever I went out there, I ended up seeing some smoldering happening. So I literally called, and county came out because it was on the county side and everything else. And they came out, and talking to some of the firemen from the county, they were talking about how city was there taking care of the stuff on the airport and everything else, and how they were explaining to me how whenever calls come in and everything else, you guys basically will take and work together and respond collectively to take and do it. And they spoke extremely highly of Hanford PD, okay? And I just love the fact that you guys work so tightly together and basically have each other's back so that our response times is as low as it possibly can be, and the camaraderie that you have. And I don't know if it used to be as good as it is now, but they said it's good. Anyway, but thank you.
And then the item information report for the June warrant register is online for anyone that is interested in looking at that. Upcoming events, July 13th through August 7th is a nomination period for city council candidates for the election in November. You can get the information on the Kings County website regarding your interest in serving on the council. August 4th is the next regular city council meeting. And lastly, to my colleagues, thank you all for your participation at the slide re-grand opening at the Plunge. It was nice to see us all there to show the community that, we are getting things done. And I was proud to be part of that. It was a fun morning. I'm kind of a little crazy off the cuff, but we had a good time, and very, very happy to see that is back and open and for our community. So having said that, it is 9:58. We made it. Good evening.